In the dance of the United Arab Emirates, Gas Marina in Abu Dhabi brings us to round 17 of the F4 division. One of the leagues that's been one of the closest throughout this season. We've seen a lot of exciting drives throughout, and no doubt tonight is going to be no exception. And the track is actually 100% here tonight, so all the drivers will be getting used to the fact that it starts in the day, the sun goes down and it goes by night. Track conditions ultimately change as a result of that. In case you want to get a chance to get us in, you can send them in via Xbox Live or also on the chat box here on Channel 1 as F1 Speed has just done. Good evening to all of you. I'm Pete Marcroft and joined as usual by Adam Roberts. How you doing?
Good evening, Pete. Well, as you've said, each week these guys give us a great race, week in, week out, and the championship has been really close, but I will mention this later on anyway, but Askassin has the potential to win the championship tonight, but we'll see how he goes as he's the first man to set a lap time.
Indeed, yes. So just going into the final lap now, Askassin, speaking of the devil, and he shall appear, gets his curves over to the end of the first start-finish line, into the tight turn one, which is very easy to go off and disappear into the auto brake scenario, not exactly what you want here, and into a sweeping 2 and 3. You want to try and be as flat as possible through here, but then you've got to be careful you don't go too wide and get dragged up on these curves. We saw what happened with Fernando Alonso in last season's real life race, where he almost damaged the underfloor of his car, as Askassin was a bit wide at turn 5, and that compromised into this really annoying hairpin. For me, that chicane shouldn't be there. They should go straight down into the hairpin and create an overtaking zone and a lot more excitement. For those of you watching here on Channel 1, you can watch the F4, and if you've got the multi-switch on, you can watch GP3, as that is on Channel 2 as well, with Westwood Gaming bringing you coverage of that. So Askassin goes out at the end of the first DRS zone through the chicane, gets a little bit of tail slip, and then over the DRS line to the GB2 support paddock. This is tricky triple chicane, which is off camber, and the car seems to fall away from you when you go into this. And you can see Askassin really hesitant on the power there as he gets through, despite being on the option tyres.
The issue that you can have with that corner switch is you can quite easily cut it, and obviously we will be watching drivers each of them if we can, if possible, and he's probably just giving it a cautious first go to make sure he gets a banker lap in, and then he might push harder later on.
On the stream, LGS469 says, "Evening guys, good evening to you, Lee, thank you for joining us." As into the penultimate corner, Askassin goes slightly over the line. You saw the tail kick out when he went onto the curb there, into the final corner, no DRS, and once again, goes over and gets a 140 dead. Literally 40.000. As Flame Dragon in the Red Bull goes into the penultimate corner now, gets a bit of tails, and he actually goes into the pit. He's not even going to finish his lap time here. Teammate RC Rapids, meanwhile, just about to go on his out lap on the prime tyres, so he's not really in a position to be followed here. Trying to find someone who's actually going to go. Ryan, meanwhile, he's on the prime tyres, on a good recovery last week in India, and a driver who needs to keep his head down and do a bit better. Last week, of course, got involved in quite a few illegal overtakes and ended up getting penalties. Drivers all been kicking off many times about penalties they've been receiving so far, evidently not liking the rules being enforced so heavily. Meanwhile, XRL Michaels going down the DRS straight, flat wide open, curse deployed in the McLaren as he heads towards this tricky chicane where, again, like the triple chicane that follows, it's so easy to go deep and go wide. Oh, gets very close to all 4 tyres on the white line on both parts of the apex there, and that compromises his grip onto this straight into the GP2 support paddock.
Indeed it does, but just look at the reference points. It's actually a pretty good time so far from XRL Michaels. Around about the mid 1 minutes by the end of the second sector, so...
Big spin there, he gets totally wrong at the start of that triple chicane. He had to get totally out of the gas and lost a lot of time, and then goes wide and off the circuit. This has been a really poor middle sector lap. There's commentators curse there on him. As soon as you start saying a good lap and he gets it all wrong, into this tricky corner for the Grand Hotel. Very spectacular building this at night, all flashes up like a fruit machine, and he goes over all 4 lines on the middle, so totally ruins his lap. Apex Beast is on the intermediate tyres. What the hell is Apex Beast doing? It's in the middle of the desert, it's the clear sky, it's about 50 degrees of track surface. Why is he on the intermediate tyres?
I don't want to comment on that.
Oh, get off that, because I don't think it's much. Oh, it's Jordan. He's currently on pole position at 1:39.1, but did pretty much what you did in the F1 race and went off right before the Grand Hotel. And a 1:39.9 from Miss Brilliant, so 8 tenths slower in second place. Third place, we won 1:46.2 for sixth place for C. Palmer. Substituted as Salva, did a good job last week for disconnecting, and now on the prime tyres. And a 1:47 for John Digweed, also on the primes. XRL Stewart says, hey people, good evening to you. As Flame Dragon is going to go for a run on the prime tyres. RC Rapid still spins it under the bridge, and then goes all 4 tyres over the inside of the Grand Hotel. Everyone's really getting that wrong. XRL Stewart commentating on an ACP XP saying, really? Who invited the Miz to this race? What's going on? Meanwhile, Ryan on the Ocean tyres on an outlet, so he's waiting to get a chance to get going. And look at it, Apex Beast has actually gone onto a lap. He's not gone into the pits on the intermediate tyres. What the hell is he doing?
Wants to be noted down for sure.
He's already 5 seconds off at sector 1, and I just don't see the reason for it. What can he possibly hope to gain from this?
Nothing, because you're not exactly going to be, saving tyres, because if you just don't qualify, so maybe the only thing he's doing is maybe moving himself a little further up the field, but he's got to make sure he doesn't affect other people.
Well, the problem is as well, it's 0% chance of rain here in Abu Dhabi. It doesn't rain on the game here unless you say it's rain yourself. So there's no reason to be wasting those tyres. I don't see any logic as to what you gain from that. You don't gain anything. As I've just been kicked back to the menu, but Flame Dragon on a pair of prime tyres goes through the tight hairpin onto the DRS straight, and he might be getting close to the back of that Sauber of ACPX Beast. So he's got to be careful he doesn't get held up. DRS flat open, colours deployed, as he goes into this really annoying straight, which is narrow, so no real reason. Into the double chicane, gets on the inside. Oh, gets very much out of shape, almost throws in like a go-kart into that turn, and then gets a decent run on the exit. Curse deployed, he's going to get into the second DRS zone. There it goes, flat wide open, and then towards the triple chicane. Got to watch out for the inside corners, make sure he doesn't cut it here as he goes and breaks the beams. Decent line into the first part, but goes a bit wide. Has to get out the gas. Well, that was as fair as you like. Not tidy, but it was certainly within the white lines.
Reference back again after the middle sector, he was around about a second off the option tyre pair, so it's not a bad lap so far. It's just
he's got Williams ahead of him, he's got to hold that car, doesn't give him terrible turbulent air for his street section. You see how wide he went in the Grand Hotel. Oh, awful time over the inside there, totally cut that. I don't know if that's going to allow his time or not. Into an ultimate corner, keeps it nice and smooth. He's going into the box, now he's going to complete the lap, gets out of shape on the final corner, goes slightly over the outside, but 140.2, good enough for 6th place. Not under cloudy circumstances with that corner cut in sector 3. Meanwhile, Ryan on the option tyres coming up to the Grand Hotel, goes wide on the outside, doesn't avoid going over the inside quite well there. Good driving, gets close to the wall of the Tepco barrier, and the penultimate corner gets into the inside curve, keeps it beautifully inside the white lines, very, very tiny. Into the final corner, this looks pretty good to me. This might be pole position at 1:38.2. He shatters first place. Jordan, meanwhile, behind him, Williams got the Mercedes. Goes on to his second run. He's going to fight 8 tenths of a second if he's going to be in competition with Ryan for pole position. So the pressure's very much on the Mercedes driver. Going into turns 3 and 4, gets a good line on the apexes, clicks the white lines and the curves. As we head towards the end of the sector, he's got Ryan ahead of him, the Ferrari. He's going to hold Ryan, see him in his mirrors, and doesn't hold him up here. As he gets into the hairpin, Ryan pulls double to the inside, slows down. Great driving from Ryan there. Gets totally out of Jordan's way. As we're now going to ride on board with the DRS and the curves. Let's listen to the engine. Sandler's got very long gears on it. You can really hear the torque curve getting very, very long before he's hitting that shift. Definitely set this up for overtaking in the race. Into the tight hairpin corners at the end of the first DRS zone. Gets nice on the apexes. Tries not to go too wide onto the curves. Nice and tiny so far from Jordan. Question remains as to whether it's actually an improvement in pace.
Indeed, well, I'm on board with that. XR Michael's on his second run. He's coming through the hotel section. Time looked pretty. He's lost it again.
Every time you seem to ride on board with XRL Michaels, you seem to put him out of the race. Meanwhile, on the street, Temple 3D says, go on, Craig, do it for T6. Well, why not? He's doing a decent job so far this season. And again, you can get your messages in either on the Channel 1 chat box, or of course you can send them on Xbox Live to myself, Game Attack Switchbone, or to XRL Bobbert. Either way, Carl Jordan getting a slight corner cut there. Low corner, 4 tyres were off. Going after the hotel section. Into the final 2 corners, gets a decent run in the penultimate. Into the final turn, gets a wide apex, will straight into the car beautifully. Has he gained enough time here at 1:38.5? No, he hasn't. Moving up the second.
Not a bad effort, but not good enough. I'm on board with RC Rapids in the Red Bull on the prime tyre, actually. It's a decent lap, I'd say. It's going to get him up in the mix in the midfield with it. It's a 40.3, only P8, actually.
Pipe meanwhile goes over to the front onto the second row, a 1:39.1. As Miss Brilliant goes out on another lap on the Lotus, only 2/10 off in 4th place. Oh, what was that? Slowed down completely, went straight through the chicane, didn't go anywhere near the corner. She's backed off, but that's not going to count, no chance. Craig Senna meanwhile, David stepping here from T6, right behind his teammate on circuit, goes into the hairpin. Decent lap time so far. XRL Patronus meanwhile saying on the stream, afternoon switchboard guys, I'm hoping to see a good race. Well, these guys have delivered so far this season, so I expect them to put on a good performance here. Flame Dragon briefly took off in the pits then, not very nice to see. RC Rapids meanwhile, his teammate in 8th place in the Red Bull on the prime tyres, gets to the end of the first DRS zone. Wide exit, lost connection to Craig Senna. He's out of qualifying. We've got to get him in the next 3 minutes, otherwise he will miss the grid and not take the race. DRS alone for RC Rapids. You might try and get him in here now there, Adam. Meanwhile, into the triple chicane. RC Rapids getting a wide line, trying to avoid the use of the external pits. Gets the 2 over the inside curves at both parts 2 and 3 of that chicane. That's that lap pretty much gone. He's not backed off, but I don't think his lap time will count. Meanwhile, on the stream, Smitty saying hello, good evening to you. And XR Stewart saying, question, what kind of punishment will Mercedes give Rosberg due to what's happened? And will they simply say you can't race Hamilton in Monza should he be in the lead? Well, I don't know if Mercedes are going to give any punishment at all. Now that the FIA have said they're not going to reopen the encounter, Mercedes will look to deal with this in-house. I mean, look at what happened with Red Bull when Sebastian Vettel ignored the team orders at Malaysia in 2013, almost caused a collision between himself and Webber, and you saw how extremely upset that made Mark Webber. What did it do to Sebastian Vettel? Absolutely nothing. Championship contender, and I won't be surprised if the same thing happens to Nico Rosberg.
Yeah, couldn't have put it better myself.
Into the final corner, Seen Palmer 11 trying to improve on his lap time on the option tyres. A 1:40.3 puts him 7th place on the grid. John Dickman's lost connection to Senna again. 90 seconds left. If he doesn't connect this time, he will be out of the race for certain. John Dickman in the Ferrari on the prime tyres. Gets to the end of sector 1 into this Mickey Mouse chicane. Gets decent run for it before the hairpin, ruining the momentum into this tightening corner. Decent line there, gets close to the apex and straight lines out. But on the prime tyres, there's a big disadvantage here. Kerr's beating the point towards the DRS line. The flap goes open. John Dickman needs to try and get up the grid and support his teammate Ryan. Craig Senna's rejoined. Hopefully he'll stick around. Meanwhile, Smittyland says it's not a big deal. He could get a 5-play grid penalty at the worst. He's not going to get anything from the FIA. Meanwhile, Stewart's saying that Wolf said a slap on the wrist won't be enough, but they've confirmed no action today. They're saying a slap on the wrist isn't enough, it's one thing, but ultimately he's leading the championship. And Hamilton's 2nd place, they're out in front of the constructors. They want both titles. Mercedes have not won a title since the 1950s. Bear that in mind.
Exactly. Well, speaking of the Mercedes, I'm on board with Ascasin, currently P5 after that 140 dead that he did on his first run. This is his final attempt. So far, Sector 1 looked very good, actually, as he comes out the hairpin onto his first DRS straight.
Well, right over John Digway just to complete his lap. It's a decent run through the hotel section in sector 3. Into the penultimate corner, gets a nice wide entry, gets a bit of a straight line out of it. Into the final corner, heads to sit on the brakes, missed the apex, had to straighten the car. But I don't think it's an improvement slightly. 140.6, but not enough. Irish Blue going to be miles backed off. He's not going to improve. XRL Michael's still not set a time yet in the McLaren, so this is his one and only chance on the option tyres. Into the penultimate corner from XRL Michaels, gets close to the outside curve. Once again, nearly fishtails the car into the final corner. I don't think he's going to be near the front. front, he's set to 1:39.8, and we're disappointed with that. Escarcin, meanwhile, he needs to find pace if he's going to be competing with his teammate and putting his championship chances. And Craig Senna is out. Craig Senna will not make the grid, as qualifying has ended when he's lost connection. Very bad luck to Craig Senna. Escarcin, meanwhile, going under the Grand Hotel in the final sector. He needs to get this right, and he needs to get on the grid at 1:40 dead. Gets in 6th place. It will need to be at least 4th, really, to have a chance of winding up and also a corner into the final bend. Gets close to the apex, just misses the turn. And of course, they're going to be a 1:39.6, only good enough for 5th place. And Irish Blue Gunner, he's not going to improve on his lap time. Piper, meanwhile, in the Williams, he's on the final lap now. Gets a bit out of shape going out the triple chicane, though. That compromises him to the start of sector 3. Into the double apex right hand there before the Grand Hotel. Oh, he's got one of the slower driving Red Bulls in front of him. He's got to be careful that car's not AI controlled and slows him in front of him. Underneath the Grand Hotel, into the penultimate series of turns. Gets a little too close to the inside curve there.
That's a go, Scarp. That's a go, Scarp.
Yeah, the Ghost car's qualified his lap. Meantime, LGS saying that RC Rapids retired in qualifying.
He did indeed, I know.
Yeah, we're already aware of that, LGS. And Mr. Deeds, meanwhile, simply says that Ross going to be on tea duty for a week. Somehow, I don't think that's very German in terms of punishments.
You never know.
So, the desert of Abu Dhabi, so we've got a long loading screen here, but finally we kick it through. And Ryan on pole position. Now, after last week's fracas on the opening laps, where there were quite a few illegal overtakes, Ryan really needs a clean run to be able to get up front and actually lead and potentially win this race. We know he's got the pace to do it. He's shown it in so many races in the past, and he will want a strong finish to this championship campaign.
He definitely will, because what he's doing, he's basically fighting with Jordan. And you probably can't discount XRL Michaels as well for that second place and that second all-important race of champion spot. I mean, Escarcin's pretty much got his under his belt at the moment, but that second place is really hotting up between those three drivers.
Well, we've seen before how many times these guys have close races in this division. They all really put on a clinic. And, you know, it can sometimes get a little messy, it has to be said. But we do also see our fair share of crackers. And know that these guys are going to be giving it all here on the desert streets of Abu Dhabi. Now, of course, 0% chance of rain, so we'll give you a rundown of the grid order. The first place on pole, we've got Ryan, and Jordan is second. He's a big threat. Piper 27, a bit of a surprise, and Miss Brilliance showing the first flash of pace to get 4th position. Great from her. Escarcin, championship leader, he'll be disappointed to be down in 5th place and in the middle of the pack. XRL Michaels, another driver who'll feel he's underperformed in qualifying, but Flame Dragon, he's the one who's probably the biggest disappointment in that respect. C. Palmer, a great job for Summit driver, and RC Rapids down in 9th. He showed good race pace at India though, so you don't want to count him out. And John Digweed in 10th. Again, another driver who didn't seem to have a great performance over one lap, but was a real threat in the race itself. Irish Blue Gunner never really got out of the blocks, and he'll be annoyed. And ACPX Beast setting his time on the intermediates, I believe. If that's the case, he may also be forced to start on them. I hope he didn't do that. And Sick Harry, meanwhile, down in 13th, didn't qualify. So he's got it all to do from the back of the grid.
Well, the bottom three guys the bottom two didn't set a lap time. Beast didn't set a lap time. He didn't move on to the options, but as I said, never qualified. And Harry didn't even leave the pits. He's obviously gone for the fresher rubber. But, well, Swish, 55 laps, could be carnage for these guys because they haven't done 100% for quite some time. Who's your money on?
Well, I mean, out front, the comment that's been made by us, the best on the screen says he believes that Jordan and Ryan will both pull out. And I've got to say, that's the smart money here. I think, though, because he's not had the real chance to show a victory yet, now that he's on pole position, I'm backing Ryan in terms of this one.
We're going with Ryan. Well, I actually know a couple of these guys' pace that they were able to do. I mean, Jordan told me what he was doing in qualifying, and he got what he was doing in qualifying, so he's got the best that he could have, really. Again, as you said, it's those two I think could streak away, but we could see a surprise from those that are starting on the prime, such as Rapids, who has really good, decent pace, but...
Well, on the stream, SRL Stuart believes Ryan will dominate. And Spinny Lad's asking, are you watching the GP3 stream?
No.
Yeah, I'm wondering where that question has come from. That seems a bit random from Smitty Lad there. But the only way we're going to bring you coverage here, courtesy of GT Omega Racing and GamePod.co.uk, is to get out to the circuit and bring you the 100% distance round at Abu Dhabi. And we saw that it could be quite a long race, this. Meanwhile, LGS says, let's see the auto-spin curbs cause havoc tonight. He's got a point, LGS. We saw quite a few drivers going off in bizarre circumstances due to the curbs here. And with the bollards, like the DRS zones, do you reckon we might see someone actually cause a safety car here?
Well, you could say that I did it because I did do it on Sunday night, and I was lucky enough to get away with not hitting the wall, but I wouldn't discount on it, but we'll find out anyway in these next 55 laps.
So in the meantime, then, let's get out onto the circuit. And again, you can get your messages to us either via the Channel 1 chat box, like many of you done so far tonight, or if you're also watching this through the Twitch app on Xbox Live, use Gamer Tag Swishbone and XRL Bobbert. So the final starting grid, short run down to turn 1 here at Yas Marina in Abu Dhabi. Ryan finally showing his pace on pole position, but Jordan also a threat in the Mercedes. And can you count Scarson out despite him being down in 5th place? Plenty of action to come here with the next 55 laps. And once the 5 lights go out, we will be racing here in Yas Marina, Abu Dhabi. So it's lights out, and away they go. Short run down to turn 1 as we say before. Ryan has a decent start. So does Jordan behind him. They both can shrink away a little bit. Pipe, oh, Ryan! Jordan makes a move on the inside, hits Ryan off! Ryan goes off the circuit there and missed brilliant on the inside. It's a P3. Took a cheeky move there, but didn't get through behind her. Meanwhile, Pipe gets a decent run back at her, but missed brilliant. Now look at this, Jordan on the outside as Ryan goes on the inside of turn 4. Great move from Ryan to retake the lead there. Fantastic. Miss Brilliant trying to do the comeback in the hairpin. So get us over to second place, goes a bit wide. That puts her under threat from the Williams there of Piper. Meanwhile, McLaren behind that of XRL Michaels. The Scarsons lost out horribly on the start. Move over, Miss Brilliant taking a look at the slipstream of Jordan, pulls back into position. As he looks at the inside of Ryan, there's a collision between the pair of them. Ryan goes on his own, Jordan looking at Miss Brilliant trying on the outside of Jordan. And Piper sneaks past the pair of them. So going to second place. Miss Brilliant now in a drag race. Right, unbelievable for Piper getting a great toe. And Ryan gets into the slipstream for the free pass chicane. Sticks it on the inside, can he take the lead here? They both go side by side through the corners. Ryan just about hangs on. Jordan goes back ahead of Miss Brilliant, who dives underneath him and takes the position but goes wide. And as a result, Jordan's got a great one as well. The car goes off in the background there. XRL Michaels, meanwhile, in the McLaren. Brilliant move from Miss Brilliant on the inside into turn 12. Gets him stuck there into P3. Fantastic.
The car that went off in the background switch was none other than Escassin, the championship leader.
Meanwhile, Piper once again all over the gearbox of Ryan. Ryan's not had it easy, despite getting a qualifying by a long way out there, but he's finally got a little bit of a gap through the final 2 corners, and it might just settle down. But unbelievable here, Miss Brilliant now in P3 with wonderful opportunistic driving, and then Jordan down to 4th after really getting muscly in the opening laps. XRL Michaels in 5th has got RC Rapids all over him on the prime tyres. Now that's a big one because he's not too far away from the option runners, and he's going to have the high ground when they all go into the pits.
He did that. He dropped down to 11th and 12th place. He's made a few places back, so he's back into 9th for the time being. But he's got work to do, and he's not making it easy for himself.
Indeed not. Meanwhile, battle for the lead. Let's get back up front there as we've already got Piper getting into the slipstream of Ryan. Ryan defends to the inside circuit and switches back to the racing line. Piper doesn't fancy a late braking move here. Nah, he's just too far away. Decides better of it. Meanwhile, going into the second part of the chicane, gets decent run on Kurz. Behind him, Miss Brilliant trying to close the gap as Jordan is starting to wind the back of her. Kurz deployed. Piper gets into the slipstream. No DRS yet available, but I'm not even sure if he's going to need it here. Forces the inside move from Ryan and goes to the inside and goes off the chicane, and so does Piper. Miss Brilliant might be able to capitalise here and possibly take the lead. No, she's just not close enough. So now it's a three-way scrum as Piper gets onto the diffuser of Ryan. And Jordan has also followed these guys. So we've got a 4-car scrap here. Piper looking at the inside of Ryan into turn 12. Ryan goes defensive. Piper not able to close up. Miss Brilliant getting great traction in these early laps here. Gets slightly wide under the Grand Hotel though. That allows Jordan to catch up. These guys are absolutely all over each other. Piper into the penultimate corner, gets into the diffuser, and Ryan going into the final corner, gets a wide entry over. Williams gets on the traction quite well, but Miss Brilliant, meanwhile, still sticking with the 3-car scrap for the lead.
This is absolutely fantastic. No wonder we said that this is I would say that this is the best division. I'll put my hand up for it. The best division for action, and they're showing it again for us now.
Going through turn 4, Miss Brilliant looking at the back of Piper is far away from Ryan. Piper defends, Miss Brilliant looks on the inside as in sector 1, gets on the brakes, but look up there, and Piper just about hangs on. But DRS will be available as Piper gets out of shape just before the hairpin. That allows Miss Brilliant to get a potential comeback ride. Plenty of cars available for Miss Brilliant in the low test. Gets under Piper's wing, gets into the slipstream, DRS will be available. The flat goes open goes the cars. Piper's got the same advantage, but Miss Brilliant gonna out-track that car easily down to the chicane. Can she get it stopped to make sure she gets the move? Yes, she can. She forces Piper wide. Harsh but fair. Piper tries to get a good back as Miss Brilliant gets poor traction. So he's now going to use the cars and the DRS to come back. But she's got the same DRS advantage. They're side by side down towards the GP2 paddock and the triple chicane. But Miss Brilliant's got the high ground and she retains second place. Great driving.
Ooh, as they both just cut across the other
XRL Michaels goes into P3. I'm not sure if it was a legal pass or not. Jordan's now under threat as RC Rapids is side by side with him through turn 10 into 11. Jordan just about hangs on. The Williams track, the Mercedes driver not having his own way here into turn 12. Jordan just not close enough to attack XRL Michaels. Battles all over the grid at the moment. It's almost impossible to keep up.
But Piper's just made a little bit of a mistake there, but they're not falling off Ryan, even though him and Miss Brilliant have been having a battle with each other. So Ryan, again, not having it his own way either, but battles wherever you go. But there's a big cluster of cars who seem to have fallen off right at the back.
Ascarson will be caught up in that pack as well. He will be furious after whatever caused him to go off at turn 10. And as you can see, Jordan now in 4th, 5th place has got RC Rapids chasing down quickly. And Sick Harry, he's one who's quietly got himself in. He's in 7th place. He started down in 13th.
Not a bad start, but Ascarson is the sole car on his own that's trying to catch up to that big bunch. We've got the South, we've got Apex Beast, Flame Dragon, Irish Blue Gunner, and John Digweed at the foot of the snake.
RC Rapids on the trot on the curves as he gets into the slipstream and the DRS on Jordan. But Jordan has the same advantage on XRL Michaels, so I don't think RC Rapids is going to catch up here. But we see Jordan really struggling, and on the screen, Living Dead 69 saying, "What a start!" And if I had spun out to stay on up to see like a fast but different strategy. XRL Stewart meanwhile saying that Jordan is falling through the field like a fly. Now the leaders are not able to pull away as Miss Brilliant gets a look at Ryan, goes to the outside before the triple chicane. Tries to go on the very wide cutback line. Oh, goes on 4 tyres over the inside. And that's going to be a legal overtake there. She went all 4 tyres over the white lines before taking the position from Ryan. From the second and third part of the chicane, she will have to get that place back. And if she doesn't, as Ryan goes on 4 tyres over. And turn 12 though, these drivers not respecting the track limits or attacking. Now if you watched the BTCC this weekend, you saw them all going on 4 tyres outside the chicane. These drivers are driving exactly the same way. So Ryan nailed to the diffuser of Miss Brilliant's Lotus. These 3 drivers have got Piper has done brilliantly well. So fall back slow, they've got slightly clean air in 3rd place and keep in touch with these guys as Miss Brilliant goes off at turn 1 into turns 2 and 3. That compromises the line and Ryan fancies an opportunity here. I'm sure he'll be waiting for DRS to blast back past the Lotus. And he knows in the chicane at the end of sector 1. Miss Brilliant goes for a slightly longer line. Ryan goes for a more conservative approach. Piper meanwhile is now back into play as he started to fall away from Miss Brilliant Ryan, and that allows him to fall into DRS clutches on Piper, and XRL Michaels has quietly caught this pack up too.
Indeed, it's just allowing everybody else to catch up from the back with these guys all squabbling, but Ryan, even with that DRS, and he's used all of his curves, he's not close enough.
That's a real surprise, right? A big mistake from Miss Brilliant. She goes wide, and that allows Ryan possibly a better exit out of the chicane. Indeed, it does. Now he's got no curse here, though. Has that been the crucial maker? DRS flat into the slipstream of the low test. Miss Brilliant tried to hang on to that lead. Whether she gained it by hook or by crooks, it never matter. And Ryan not able to close up. Miss Brilliant looking both the outside and inside tyres, driving aggressively and harsh here. Ryan is down to second.
There's a big cut on turn 13. Now the guys need to be careful in this when I watch them later on, but
meanwhile, Jordan's been passed by RC Rapids in the Red Bull, and on the stream, Living69 saying that if the leaders can't pull away, the advantage is with RC Rapids. And you're absolutely right. That gap is less than 5 seconds to the Red Bull on the slower tyres. Jordan makes a big mistake, nearly goes into the wall, and Sick Harry tries to go around the... Oh, Jordan went over the inside to take the position back. He went on the corner cut to defend. Very poor driving for Jordan. That is definitely an illegal move.
And all this will be noted down and be taken to the stewards later on, but for now we'll just keep back to the action. And Ryan is still all over the gearbox of Miss Brilliant. Piper just about hanging on. He's got more of his curves available to him this time, Ryan, so let's see if he's got the speed advantage.
Ryan gets a tighter line through the hairpin there. You can see that Miss Brilliant drifted very wide. Curse being deployed by Ryan, but he's already used his curse to catch up in sector 1. And we've seen that the DRS wasn't effective on those previous lap. Well, there goes the flap, and he's right into the slipstream. Miss Brilliant defends already to the left-hand side. Ryan goes, okay, I'll take the wide line on the outside. Miss Brilliant hoping that forces him into a mistake at the chicane, but she's hit the bollard, looking to come away with no damage. But look at the drive that she got off that chicane there. And despite having no curse, this should be easy with DRS.
Here comes Piper on the outside as well, 3 wide.
So 3 car, he's hit Ryan, collision, as he's gone back to the racing line. Ryan on the inside, Piper on the outside. Miss Brilliant goes into the middle of the pair of them as Piper misses the chicane and Ryan keeps second place.
Oh, that was a close call there. I thought that might have been a side pod glitch.
On the stream, LTS believes that RC Rapids will lose a lot of time due to the undercut. What's your perspective on that then, Adam?
Yes, definitely. We worked out that the undercut per lap, you will gain around about 2 seconds roughly a lap. So the undercut is really powerful as it is on most tracks actually, but around here it's in particularly good as Miss Brilliant dives
Miss Brilliant's already going for it. She's definitely heard your commentary in the car here and has decided she wants to try and get ahead of these guys. So she's now going to drop down the field. Also behind her is another car in the pits. Not sure who that is. Down to the 4th place already, and that was one of the McLarens. That might have been XRL Michaels, as Jordan's now in P4, but goes all 4 tyres off on the outside. Massive extension, car slowed down automatically. RC Rapids now in 3rd place, and meanwhile Piper trying to attack Ryan. Great driving from these guys on the opening laps.
Some fantastic first opening stints here, and I just hope it continues, because this has just been awesome, to say the least.
Not, you're excused. So meanwhile, going back to 3rd place, RC Rapids and the Red Bull ahead of Jordan, who's actually now under pressure from none other than Sick Harry, who's now in 5th place. Great recovery drive from him. DRS open as well, so he's actually fancying a move on Jordan here into the chicane. And Sick Harry is going to try and Montoya as well on the inside. No, he's too far behind. Decides to filter in and wait for the second bite of the cherry. Jordan under real pressure here, having got on the opening start in 2nd place, has fallen like a stone. And this is a real problem for his second bit in the championship as Ryan is out in the lead. DRS from Sick Harry, but he hit the rev limiter too early there, and as a result, Jordan was able to retain. But up ahead, meanwhile, I think Piper's close right out to Ryan.
He has indeed. Ryan made a mistake at the triple chicane, and that allowed Piper to get all over his gearbox.
7 laps on the opening stint from the option tyres on 100% distance. As Ryan goes off once again, he's really struggling. I get the feeling he'll be peeling into the box this lap. Question is, will Piper follow him here? And he's got to be careful. If he does, he doesn't end up double stacking his teammate Sick Harry. And going into the box, indeed, Ryan goes in, but Piper stays out. Piper is going the long way round. RC Rapids are going to go to 2nd place. As behind them, I believe that's Jordan who's gone into the pits in the Mercedes.
Well, this track is known for having it's a 3 or 4 stop race, no doubt about it. Ryan was very lucky not to be held up there as Jordan came into the pits. But yeah, it's a 3 or 4 stop race. It just depends on how long you can make your tyres last, and that's maybe what Piper could be doing.
Well, Scarce is now running in P4 as a result of these pit stops. On the straight, meanwhile, XRL Stewart saying he was on the sauce on the last stint while James was on the mediums and only gained 3 seconds. But XRL Stewart is then saying, well, you ain't quick then. As Ryan's come out in 6th place with Flame Dragon and Sister Red Bull behind him.
And he's come out behind Miss Brilliant, so the undercut has worked for her. She's got a little bit more of a gap to Ryan.
But don't forget, Miss Brilliant is staring down the barrel of a potential penalty for the way she took the lead from Ryan at the triple chicane. It looked like all 4 tires were over as XRL Michaels is in 8th place in the McLaren behind the Flame Dragon in the Red Bull, who's attacking Ryan already. He's driving on the older tyres, but Flame Dragon's not going to make it easy. And if he goes past Ryan, that will chew those prime tyres to pieces. Meanwhile, XRL Michaels going to have the DRS on the back of Flame Dragon and the Red Bull down towards the triple chicane. Gets the flat wide open, as also ahead of it does Flame Dragon. Into the triple chicane, Michaels not able to close up enough as Ryan makes a mistake. So Flame Dragon passes the move and XRL Michaels cuts full pass of the chicane and he's going to go past Flame Dragon, but all 4 tyres were over the white line. Drivers definitely attacking and definitely breaking the rules. Meanwhile, Jordan's all the way down in 9th as a result of that pit stop. Not worked in his favour at all. Flame Dragon on the options, you get the feeling he's going to go into the box this lap. Staring at the back of the diffuser of the McLaren of XRL Michaels into the penultimate corner. Is Flame Dragon going into the pits? Yes, he is. So Flame Dragon decides to get rid of those. Meanwhile, XRL Michaels now in P7. Meanwhile, up ahead of them, who's in the pits? As Ryan's just gone in, and Scarson's finally gone into the pits. He's in 7th place now. So the field's starting to return to normal, and you've got Ryan in 5th place behind Miss Brilliant for the net lead.
Did you do an XRL Michaels has actually brought himself into play? Actually, he's got clean air, and he has gained on these two. But it's a case of can he catch up further if these two start squabbling it anyway.
Meanwhile, Sick Harry now in 3rd place, amazingly, attacking RC Rapids with a DRS. And I think he fancies a go here as Pied Piper continues to race on in the Williams. So both the Williams drivers going long in the opening stint. Now that might bring them back into play in the final part of the race, especially if they're on the faster tyre. Kerrs and DRS deployed by Sick Harry as he gets into the slipstream of RC Rapids, who's still on the prime tyres. Into the triple chicane, Sick Harry will take some look, but he's too far behind and filters in behind the Red Bull for now.
The problem that the 2 Williams have got at the front is one of them's going to have to decide to make a pit stop this lap. I'd probably suggest it would be the leader, Pied Piper.
It would be Pied Piper because Sick Harry will be on fresh tyres.
Oh, very true.
Well, I'll move back through the field. You've got Miss Brilliant in 4th place, being chased quickly by Ryan. Behind them on his own, meanwhile, XRL Michaels in 6th place. Down in 7th, we've got Jordan, so he's fallen off as a result of these stops. And C. Palmer 1, meanwhile, is being chased by Don Digweed. I don't even think Scarson's in the top 10. No, he's just in 10th place.
As the leader has pitted, Pied Piper is in.
This is hardly a surprise.
Well, if you say so.
XRL Michaels in 6th place now, looking at the back of Ryan, and Ryan's gone up to 4th as a result of pit stops, taking after Miss Brilliant. Miss Brilliant's done a good job in absolute clean air. She's gained a consistent gap, and I'm surprised that Ryan's not closing up to her. We saw how much pace he had in qualifying over 1 lap, but it seems the race pace just isn't quite there.
Well, you don't get points for qualifying, Squish. It all comes down to the res there.
Moving forward, we do a battle for the leader. Sick Harry has the DRS wide open at RC Rapids, and I don't even think RC Rapids is going to fight this one. He's led him through by the end of the first DRS zone. RC Rapids knows he's got a bit of curse left as Sick Harry goes wide at the first chicane at the end of that sector, and RC Rapids will be attacking as Sick Harry goes up. Oh, he hits him! Very close to a side pod glitch there. I don't know how they avoided that. Good driving in the end. As Sick Harry got spiraled by the curb, hit the side pod, but somehow didn't trigger the glitch. Miss Brilliant, meanwhile, now under pressure because Ryan has got the DRS on her at the end of the triple chicane. He's not close enough to attack now, but that gap has definitely come down. And I think Ryan smells blood in the water here because he's all over the back of that Lotus like a rash.
It definitely is, and they've actually pulled the gap to XRL Michaels, so these two, which will be our net 1 and 2 once the 2 leaders have pissed, this is the battle to watch.
Going through the Grand Hotel, and you can see that Miss Brilliant's really struggling through this sector. Evidently, she's gone for the more Spa Monza kind of setup with lower downforce, ignoring sector 3, whereas Ryan has gone for the much more slippery traction one, kind of like what you'd use in the second sector of Korea to get the more compromised setup into the slipstream. As ahead of them, I think that's going to be none other than Pied Piper, who's gone into the pits. So our new race leader now is RC Rapids in the Red Bull.
Just to give you a hint here, Swish, actually, Miss Brilliant is using a particular F1 driver setup that I've heard, actually.
She's been doing favours to get the setups, then, you think?
Well, yeah, because it's mine.
Giggity, giggity. Going into the final corner then, Ryan gets on the slipstream, gets decent traction. Coming out, he's going to have plenty of curves available here, and the DRS lap will be wide open as he gets it underneath the wing of that Lotus, and Ryan will be eyeing this up. It's Miss Brilliant sees the threat, defends to the left, but Ryan follows and goes, you're not breaking the toe that easily. Goes to the outside, he's going to be easily ahead of her into this section. Question is, has she saved curves? Yes, she has. A full bar of curves. Miss Brilliant decides to let him through and try and do it back under the triple chicane, a risky strategy because he got better traction there despite all the extra horsepower available. There goes the flap, and I think this is a great call by Miss Brilliant, and just look at that. That's why you should not have DRS zones next to each other. But Ryan tries to defend on the inside here. Both tires still on the circuit, and Miss Brilliant cut the corner, so wonderful for Ryan. Now, has Miss Brilliant taken a position again for an illegal corner cut as Ryan gets stuck on the curb, side by side going in towards turn 12. Ryan tries to push her wide, make sure he doesn't hit her. She's on the outside line. Ryan's going to go up the circuit here, and Miss Brilliant gets better traction as a result to retake the lead.
Yeah, I think that'll be negated because both did a corner cut and Ryan track extended, so it's kind of negated in effect. So it's fine as it is, I think. But yeah, she just holds on for now.
Going into the final corner, Ryan gets under the slipstream. Look how he's driving out of that corner there. He's hustling the back of that Lotus on the screen, living dead saying, loving the Quagmire joke. Yeah, I bet you do.
Ryan actually took a little sneaky look on the outside in turn 1 there, but it didn't quite have enough. Didn't have the pace. And the dog.
But yeah, Bob, it's because you're not watching the stream. I was just doing this. Yes, that's right. I have a Quagmire talking pen. I am that much of a geek. As Ryan gets on the slipstream at the end of the hairpin corner, gets the curves wide open, heading for the DRS zone, but he's saved a little bit of his curves this time. Evidently, Ryan more wise to the threat. Gets onto the inside, and once again, Miss Brilliant trying to defend that tighter line. Ryan's going to be forced to go to the opposite line on the outside here. Not yet got the tyre marbles forming though to give him the reduced grip. And as a result, Miss Brilliant loses the lead for now. But look at the traction she's got on the inside of that corner, and with the amount of curves she's saved, she's just blasted back through.
She saved another full bar of curves again, and Ryan just has no answer. But look, he's catching up behind them because of these two. XRL Michaels is coming into play.
Well, for me, if I was Ryan, I'd be using the first DRS zone to catch and the second DRS zone to pass. If I had my way, there'd be one DRS zone, not two.
Well, you don't design the track wheels, do you?
Unfortunately not, the drivers would hate it. Going through to turn 13, Ryan gets on the inside curve, trying to close up to the back of Miss Brilliant, and he will be furious at this. Having set such a great qualifying lap, he's just not able to break away. And there are shades in many ways of Hulkenberg versus Hamilton at Korea in 2013, where evidently one driver was a lot faster, but in the one crucial section, the slower driver was the quickest.
Indeed, so he might have to be ingenuitive here and find somewhere else to pass us. Miss Brilliant goes wide at turn 1, so this could be that chance in turn 2. He's not quite close enough. He just doesn't have the aerodynamics through that section. He's just going to have to.
Do you think that maybe he should be saving his curves and trying to attack after the triple chicane and trying to go on the long drag where you've got the double right-hander into the tight Grand Hotel hairpin?
It's a potential one, yeah. It's one that can be done even without the assistance of curves, actually. You've got this. You get a decent slipstream from the car in front, but well, he's trying again. Miss Brilliant's used a little bit of curve to defend this time. Ryan's got the same amount but left over, and he's going to get ahead again. But I'm probably going to suggest that the same result is going to come back again.
It just makes you wonder why the drivers don't think of using one section to catch and another to pass. And again, look at how much better traction Miss Brilliant got there. She was passing it before the DRS zone because Ryan screwed up on the hairpin corners.
that's all it needs. Just one mistake from Ryan and all the curves that Miss Brilliant has in her pocket, and it's easy picking.
RC Rapids, meanwhile, has been caught by these guys. He's going to lose so much time in the pits here, don't you think?
Yeah, he is. But bear in mind, he will have an extra set of option tyres to use, and they can be the best part of a second to a second and a half quicker. So he is one to watch out later on in the race, I would say.
Ryan now getting under the wing of Miss Brilliant, and again, if RC Rapids stays out, Miss Brilliant will have the DRS for both sections to use, and that will only make the defence more difficult. Meanwhile, behind them, XRL Michaels has fallen away and is now actually under big pressure from the Pied Piper, as XRL Michaels gets woefully out of shape and Rapids goes into the pits, so that releases the leaders here. So we've got Pied Piper in 5th place, taking a look at XRL Michaels, but I don't think he's really close enough to attack here, viewers. I would love to stay on board with this battle, but unfortunately, we've got a battle for the lead, and I've got to cover that as Ryan goes from turn 3 a little better than Miss Brilliant. She goes all 4 tyres outside the line there, gets poor traction as a result, hits the chicane at the end of sector 1, but Ryan's using his curves there. It makes me wonder why you do that.
Again, he might just be trying something different, maybe to have a run down in towards turn 4 before into the hairpin on this first DRS straight, but well, here we go again. Miss Brilliant's not using any curves at all, and Ryan, he has a bit more to his advantage this time, and he's going to pull alongside Miss Brilliant. He'll have, as
she's backed off.
He's backed off. She's doing the same trick again.
Yeah, I want the DRS. Oh, but she's missed all 4 tyres through the chicane, cut the corner there. That gained her a big advantage. And of course, she's going to be a winner second under the DRS detection zone. And there goes the flap. There goes the curves. And well, there goes the Lotus. And Ryan tried to cut her off to the left, so Miss Brilliant dove into the outside. Has Ryan forced her onto the line that's going to make her lose the lead here? Oh, there was contact, and she spun. There was contact, she hit the curb, tried to recover it, and has gone off the circuit. So Michaels goes through into 2nd place, Pied Piper into 3rd, and Jordan into 4th. Miss Brilliant has lost out massively. I think she's even behind Flame Dragon. No, she's just ahead of the 2nd Williams assistant, Sick Harry. Real mistake there.
I don't know if on your screen, you had the same on your screen, Swish, but I saw a little bit of contact, and I wonder if that's what caused it.
That's what I'm thinking. I did see some contact, and that's on the straight, so the stewards will definitely be investigating that after the race, I suspect. But Pied Piper all over the back of XRL Michaels now in 2nd place as they try to catch up to Ryan. On the street, meanwhile, XRL Stewart says, does Ricciardo have a shot at the title this season? Well, if the Mercedes drivers won't take the gloves off, I'd say yes. Let's wind the clock back to the year 2007. Everyone was saying, would it be Fernando Alonso or Lewis Hamilton? In the end, it was Kimi Räikkönen.
The only difference with that, though, Swish, was that...
Pied Piper lunges at the inside of XRL Michaels, goes onto the marbles. Does that mean he's got the DRS to pull away from Michaels? If he has, he's just shown Ryan exactly what he needs to do to get back. Indeed, he does. He has the DRS to pull away, but XRL Michaels, without DRS, is sticking with him. That McLaren definitely slippery in a straight line, but unbelievably, he's lost the position to Pied Piper.
Just going to say, I'll say it quickly now, Swish, is the McLaren and the Ferrari of the 2007 season was very equal in performance, whereas this season the Mercedes has just shown its dominance, and it's so much quicker than the next cars. I mean, you go back to the qualifying in Spa, where they had a 2-second advantage over the next quickest car.
But look at the race. They only have 3 or 4 tenths. And many times during that race, you saw the likes of Fernando Alonso, Kimi Räikkönen and Valtteri Bottas setting the fastest laps, not Lewis Hamilton or Rosberg for quite some time.
Well, the Hamilton did have that damage on his floorboard, and obviously...
Ryan's made a mistake! Ryan's lost his front wing! Ryan's hit the wall somewhere, lost his front wing! He's down to 3rd place, and XRL Michaels! That's the move on Pied Piper to take the lead! Pied Piper is your new race leader!
Well, we did this division that gives you everything, and we've got everything, and now Jordan in P3 has a sniff of victory here.
I don't know what happened there. He seems to lose it as Pied Piper goes wide at turn 1, and that allows XRL Michaels to slip on the inside. All 4 tyres off, and XRL Michaels is just not able to get through as Jordan's down the back of these 3. 3 cars scrap for the lead. Jordan can't believe his luck. He's back in with a chance to take the lead as XRL Michaels goes side by side with Pied Piper into the corner before the hairpin. Who's got DRS here? Jordan, meanwhile, that fancy a double overtake as the drivers all stack up against one another. And Sick Harry is now in P4. RSL with XRL Michaels gets into the slipstream. Piper into Williams. Going to easily be up alongside into the head chicane. Is he going to make the pass here or is he going to pass it Diaz? As Apex Beast destroyed his vehicle. Is that going to be a safety car?
It is.
It is indeed. We've got a safety car out. Unbelievable. What happened there? How did ACPX Beast bring up the safety car?
I'll get them in and we'll find out.
I get the feeling this might be a David Coulthard at the on Adelaide 1995, and he went straight into the pit wall.
I think for the position where his car was, it's at the end of turn 1. So,
Apex Beast, what happened?
Well, I just hit the ball out of turn 1.
You hit the bollard, so the bollard of death took your car out.
Yep.
We've said many times before that the bollards are absolutely lethal. We saw it in Bahrain when F1 Nige threw a 50-second lead away when he did the same thing. So commiserations there, because, I mean, initially your pace wasn't that strong. As Miss Brilliant is going to take advantage and get a free pit stop under the safety car, she might as well get these tyres out of the way. So unbelievable disaster there. I mean, looking forward then to Austin, Texas. Do you think you'll have a better chance there?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I'm only reserved out for F4, so I'd pace to keep up with these guys. So I'm hoping I'll pace again through it.
Oh, well, thank you very much for your comments and big commiserations. Now, on the stream, meanwhile, quite a few conversations going on. First of all, Living Dead asking where's Rapids. He was in the middle pack, having done his pit stop. And he's the one who's probably lost out here, having got the prime tyre out of the way at the start. The safety car's come at the worst possible time. Living Dead 69 saying it's playing into his hands. I'm not so sure I agree with that. Meanwhile, XRL Stewart has said that this safety car has saved Ryan's skin.
I was just going to say that, because he's found himself now into P5 on fresh tyres, and the guys ahead did not box. So Ryan is back in the pound seat once again. He can count his lucky stars.
He's, let's say, very, very fortunate. Whatever he did to cause that loss was unbelievable. LGS, meanwhile, question on the stream of him. Do we think that Bottas will take his maiden win at Monza? I'd love it, because that Williams has looked very, very good. But they really weren't on the pace at Spa, which is what I expected. And Spa's usually an indicator of how cars will perform at Monza. You only have to look back to 2009 when we saw the Force India competitors at both Spa and Monza. So I would be surprised, but it would be a very welcome one.
Could you even discount Red Bull even from Monza? Because they showed they used a skinnier wing actually for Spa. They went for more downforce, more straight line speed.
It's funny you should mention that, because if you go to Eurosport's page online, Will Gray, aka the author of Grey Matter, he was talking about how Ricciardo was actually the second fastest car in a straight line at Spa.
It just shows anything can happen. I mean, what a difference that makes, because, you know, as we all know, Red Bull are known predominantly for their aerodynamic and downforce packages. But now it seems like we've got to switch around, and they've gone for more of a straight line speed setup, and it seems to work, and it's proven as it did in Spa when the Mercedes tangled up with each other. Who was there to pick up the pieces? It was the Red Bull.
RC Rapids has badly lost out here. He's in 7th place, but he's on the option tyres. Everybody else has been able to box. Or those of them who have boxed, the guys in the first 4 places haven't, will all be on the prime tyres. So they'll be going long, and unless Rapids gets brilliant pace, he's going to lose out big time here.
I don't understand why none of the top 4 didn't pit. I can understand maybe if they're doing a 3-stop, then yes, but if they're doing a 4-stop, then I would have pitted, because Ryan, who is the first driver to have pitted, and he's on fresh rubber, he's in P5.
And Miss Brilliant's in P6 as well, and she boxed right behind them. She was literally right behind the guys when she went into the pits.
But they haven't lost out at all, and they could end up just being mincemeat to these guys. So they've got the track position for now. The safety car will be in at the end of this lap, but it depends, will it be worth it?
XRL Patronus meanwhile saying, loving the safety car, spice things up. What, you needed the race spicing up? What race have you been watching?
Were you watching GP3, not F4?
What are you on about? It needed spicing up. What are you talking about?
This has been a fantastic first 16 laps until that safety car. We couldn't have asked for anything more.
Now the interesting question here is, are we going to see the safety car in this lap? It's been quite a long time, and Stuart's saying he thinks that's Ryan in 5th and he's the overwhelming favourite. Completely agree, that's exactly where he is. But Miss Brilliant is right behind him, and she has shown herself to be monstrously racy today, and showing a lot of pace in that Lotus.
Like I said, she's got my setup. Why do you think she's there?
Oh, here we go. Claim all the credit because, as HCPX Beast loses connection at last, well, we already saw him retire from the race. So
you're psyching yourself up for nothing there, Swish.
I always psych myself up, but Adam, you know the way I work.
Yes. Right, the safety car is in this lap.
I'm surprised that... I'm really surprised that Pied Piper hasn't backed him up earlier because he's going to catch the safety car here.
Oh, so that everyone's getting really close to one another. But
see, the green flags are going, and they've got to make sure they avoid the safety car. So, why isn't everyone started?
Pied Piper's gone.
Yeah, Pied Piper's gone, followed by XRL Michaels, followed by Jordan, followed by Sick Harry, Ryan, and then Miss Brilliant. Miss Brilliant being chased by RC Rapids on the propulsion tyres. But Rapids not closing the gap here. But despite this, look, Miss Brilliant lost out to Ryan a bit, who goes off at turn 1. Miss Brilliant has a cheeky move on the inside of 2, and she takes the position. Miss Brilliant gets ahead of Ryan.
Opportunist move. Ryan having a look to the outside. Miss Brilliant defence to the inside.
Oh, RC Rapids hit her! RC Rapids punted the back of Miss Brilliant, sending her past that second Williams. RC Rapids can't go past here, but Ryan can. So RC Rapids side by side with Miss Brilliant, evidently not giving this up. Gets into the slipstream, but just went too far behind for the toe. And Ryan is in a real threat here as Miss Brilliant pulls to the inside. RC Rapids in the middle and Ryan on the outside. These three drivers all close together. Who's up ahead of him? Sick Harry wants to move on Jordan, who goes a bit wide in the second chicane. Meanwhile, XRL Michaels trying to get close to Pied Piper. Miss Brilliant now underneath the wing of Sick Harry in the Williams, getting a great toe. He's had to get out of the gas. Miss Brilliant going on the outside for the triple chicane. She's now in the slipstream with Jordan. This is great driving from the start from the Lotus driver.
And now, but more importantly, now what she's got a car in between.
On the inside of Jordan, who went too wide in the triple chicane. That's 3rd place.
Now 2 cars in between herself and Ryan. She's doing everything right here to get away.
That's got her a gap of at least 3 seconds now. She's already onto the back of XRL Michaels, who loses at turn 12. Wants to get over the white lines there from Miss Brilliant, getting too close to the edges, but then goes wide in the penultimate corner. That's going to open the door for Jordan in the Mercedes, and also Sick Harry in the Williams. Miss Brilliant getting a better run through that penultimate corner with the fresh tyres down to temperature as she gets into the slipstream of XRL Michaels, and Ryan is the big loser here, having gone for the huge winner. Meanwhile, look at this, one of the Salmers going past Apex. Going past the Lotus there, the Red Bull of RC Rapids. RC Rapids just hangs off. Meanwhile, heading into the chicane at the end of sector 1, Miss Brilliant tries to get a look at XRL Michaels, who goes a bit wobbly at the chicane. She's going to fancy possibly undertaking at the hairpin here, and then out dragging down the straight, gets into the slipstream, almost into the back of XRL Michaels. Such is the acceleration difference. There is the curves being deployed already. She's not taking any prisoners. Curves, then DRS deployed. She's used all of her bar, and I think she wants a double overtake here on both XRL Michaels and Pied Piper. They're 3 abreast at the end of the DRS straight, and Miss Brilliant goes briefly into the lead, but Pied Piper's got a better run. But Miss Brilliant on the outside, going to have DRS against her though, because she was ahead at the detection zone. So Pied Piper should be able to blast past with DRS here. A Sick Harry has lost connection. Meanwhile, look at this, XRL Michaels, the side by side into the triple chicane. And Pied Piper goes a little wide, but he takes the lead. Miss Brilliant trying to sling on the inside there after the chicane, but Pied Piper chops across. She has to take a facelift as one of the other drivers is stuck in the triple chicane. Don't know who that is. Moving it back, XRL Michaels trying to keep up with the Lotus as Miss Brilliant side by side with Pied Piper trying to do an overtake under the Grand Hotel. I've never seen that before. No traction to make that work. Ryan now is behind XRL Michaels and closing the gap, and he's actually making a move on the inside. Ryan gets ahead. XRL Michaels goes into the pits far too late, and Ryan is now all over the diffuser of Miss Brilliant in the Lotus, who's trying to attack the Pied Piper and get back ahead of him.
This is why I mentioned why these guys didn't pit at the front, and Michaels, well, he's got himself clean air, but he's now going to be down in 11th of what is now last place.
Miss Brilliant's got a real pressure hit as Ryan's close right up after initially clearing all these cars. Oh, what was that for Miss Brilliant? Went all four tyres over the white line there. She's going to get the move done on Pied Piper, but Ryan is going to have the DRS on her. And in fact, Ryan passes the move down because Miss Brilliant was caught in a dancing duel with Pied Piper. Ryan goes around the outside of the Williams. Pied Piper tries to sneak on the inside, but Ryan's going to get ahead. And I fancy Ryan here having a decent run under DRS to try and take the lead into the triple chicane. Sick Harry, what happened?
Lost connection.
Sorry to cut across you, but Pied Piper's got DRS on the back of Ryan here into the triple chicane, but Pied Piper not close enough to make a move.
Just a simple disconnection, did you say, Harry? Nothing else, just that.
RC Rapids has just hit the back of Pied Piper as Pied Piper was slow off the chicane.
That's unfortunate, Harry. Well, have you got better chance, do you think, in America? Well, don't be too disheartened. Fingers crossed you can have a good pace for America next week. But yeah, commiserations that you have a lost connection, dude. But you know, put your feet up and do whatever it takes just to, just chill.
RC Rapids goes over to third place now, having cleared the Williams and Pied Piper. So RC Rapids is now back in contention, only a few seconds adrift of both Ryan and Miss Brilliant. RC Rapids has somehow profited after that mistake not to pit, and Miss Brilliant gets a little lock up in the chicane at the end of sector 1, and Ryan is all over her. So here we go, battle once again joined at the front of the field between these two.
So is it going to be the same outcome again?
I don't think so, because look how far Miss Brilliant is ahead.
Maybe she used the curve this time. I'm not on board with that.
Ryan's still got DRS, but he's just too far behind to attack. He just doesn't feel confident to make the move in there and keep it on the outside. As RC Rapids manages to fend off both Pied Piper and Jordan and Discussing. So those three drivers all hanging on into third place here. Ryan with the DRS over trying to attack the back of Miss Brilliant, but she's too far ahead. Meanwhile, on the street, a few comments about real life F1. LGS thinks that Red Bull used their Joker engine as Discussing goes through into the triple chicane. And there's SC Palmer in the Sauber who's hit Pied Piper, pushed him through the chicane. Palmer realises he's been a bit of a mistake there and lets him back through. As Discussing goes wide of his own accord, so Pied Piper's going to go after on the outside. Discussing trying to defend, but he's had to give up the move. So Discussing's been a bit of a prophet here. He's all the way in 5th place now.
Well, where you lose your luck, you gain your luck at the same time.
But yeah, coming back to what they're saying, LGS thinks that Red Bull used their Joker at Spa, and that's why they're good straight line speed. I'm guessing he means their engine. Meanwhile, XRL Stuart says it's not all about the gearbox. Their aerodynamic update was the deciding factor. Very fair point from him. Meanwhile, Sick Harry just putting a load of gobbledygook. I'm guessing that's because he's raging.
Yeah.
I'll try and pronounce it.
Sounds something Serbian, perhaps, but we actually have a three-way battle for the lead now. Rapid has managed to find himself within, I would say he's definitely within DRS of the front two, so even though we thought that he'd lost out from that safety car, clearly hasn't shown him he's actually not within
I think
DRS.
it's been when they caught on to the Pied Piper, he was much more stubborn than XRL Michaels and Jordan in terms of getting past them. Miss Brilliant forces Ryan onto the outside. He's going to get marbles on his tyres here, so Miss Brilliant should have the better drive. Look at that. But Ryan beautifully slips in behind her, so he's going to have to DRS, and there goes the flat. Is he going to be close enough to catch up to the Lotus as we head back to the GP2 paddock as the sun starts to set here at Yas Marina, Abu Dhabi? It's the triple chicane. Ryan's just not close enough.
All this is doing is allowing Rapids to close in ever more on his options and tyres. I mean, look at the grip difference that he's got compared
Look
to
at the gap as well, that's really come down. RC Rapids has got himself back into contention here. Great opportunistic driving from him. Somehow as Ryan goes off at turns well, so Rapids might fancy a move on Ryan here. Oh, he's missed all 4 tyres over the inside corner there. And again, that's 2 in 2 corners.
I'll be careful.
RC Rapids attacking Ryan going into the final corner. Rapids, of course, on the option tyres here. If he can get ahead of these guys, get a couple of laps to clear air, he could be a real threat for the race victory. And this Brilliant has scuppered Ryan's chances, expecting Ryan would jump away from everybody, but it's not been that way so far here at the deserts of Abu Dhabi.
The problem Rapids has got is he's been on these tyres now, I'd say, for around about 7 laps. They'll be coming towards the end of their life, so perhaps he could be looking for the undercut on these two. Because
if he's on a free-stop strategy on the options, surely that's possible.
The fall stopper is the quicker way to go if you can get it to work, I would say. The 3-stop, you're just going to lose too much time from the undercuts and the quicker
Rapids is actually right under the wing here of Ryan, who's gone close right to the wing of Miss Brilliant. So this is definitely going to be a three-way duel into the GP2 paddock of the triple chicane here. Miss Brilliant retains the lead into the chicane because Ryan's decided to sit back, taking my advice of using zone 1 to catch and zone 2 to pass. But Miss Brilliant's not going to make it easy. She's making that lows as wide as possible. And now RC Rapids at the Red Bull. It's closing up, but somehow Miss Brilliant's defending, and Ryan's not close enough to attack. Rapids gets on the inside. Oh, just too far behind. That would have been a magnificent last in the lane. Oh, he went over 4 tyres over the inside there, but was that to avoid hitting Ryan, who lost all the grip?
I would say so, yes. I think Rapids had to do that to avoid hitting Ryan, so that's one that can be ignored. But it does give him a run now on Miss Brilliant.
And Ryan has lost out as a result of that. Ryan will be slamming the steering wheel in frustration as RC Rapids goes through the final sector as the sun goes down here in Abu Dhabi. And we're only just coming up to halfway distance. We've got a long way to go here, viewers. Into the final corner, RC Rapids getting closer to the back of the Lotus of Miss Brilliant, but she's just not too far away for him to be able to attack at this point. But you get the feeling under DRS, he'll be a big threat.
Well, Ryan certainly couldn't pass Miss Brilliant as he goes wide at turn 1 with the DRS assistant. Well, he managed to get past, but then he was sitting. Rapids can use his head wisely.
On the stream, meanwhile, Spinning 56 asking who do we think will drive for Haas Formula in 2015 or 2016. I think the smart one is going to be on Alex Rossi as one of the drivers. And not that they said they wanted a seasoned driver, but I'm not sure who they'll get in terms of that thing. We'll get back to that in a moment. There's RC Rapids got DRS here on Miss Brilliant. He's already used all his curse, so he's easily going to get past.
Rapids has got no DRS.
Well, that's interesting. And Miss Brilliant tries to go around the outside. She's going to have DRS, and there's also got a full bar of curves here. So she's going to be a massive favourite to take this position right back.
She's using her head wisely here, and same result again as she did on Ryan. She's using her head really well. Perhaps girls know more than guys do when it comes to re-overtaking and using.
Perhaps she's been watching the South Korean 2013 Grand Prix and saw what Nico Hulkenberg did to both Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso, because there's shades of that in the way she's driving here. Fantastic performance. But going back to the Haas Formula, I think Alex Rossi is definitely one of the guys who'll be in there. They did say they wanted a seasoned driver to be the person in the other seat, but I'm trying to think who they might get for that. Maybe someone like Jean-Eric Verne, as RC Rapids makes a move towards the end of Sector 3, but he's just not close enough to attack. Possibly someone like Sebastian Bourdais, maybe, who's popular in IndyCar and has a little F1 experience.
Yeah, you could even see something like Kimiko, but actually if you wish to change teams again and go somewhere else. So
I think he's going to be part of all the teams, though, through the way that Caterham are treating him, to be honest.
Maybe the likes of Heikki Kovalainen, perhaps, making a return?
Well, there's been a few predictions on the stream. XRL Stewart and also Living Dead saying potentially Massa. He's only had 1 year at Williams. If the second year doesn't go so well, he might not be retained. That's a fair point. Also, Smitty156 brings up a good one. He says possibly Bruno Senna. Well, Bruno Senna's proven himself adept. He's dropped quite a few different F1 teams, so he will have a lot of data and knowledge. And again, he's also had a lot of experience in other Formula, so definitely a possibility.
Bruno Senna, really? I would rather shoot myself as RC Rapids.
DRS lap over RC Rapids. I think he's finally realised he's got the advantage. Maybe he made a mistake. Going into the inside, Miss Brilliant trying to make a move here. But RC Rapids retains position. But once again, she's saved all the curves. Gets poor traction off the corner though. And that might be enough for RC Rapids to break away here. DRS flap over from the Lotus drive. Miss Brilliant just got enough speed. She's going to stick on the inside. Oh, it's a very late switch to the outside. I think RC Rapids has done enough to defend there. He goes wide of the chicane. Miss Brilliant's going to miss the chicane, and as a result Rapids retains the lead. Good try from Rapids to do what Ryan could not.
Yeah, he managed to he kept his car right towards the inside of the wall there, forced Miss Brilliant to go to the outside, and she just lost momentum. So Rapids now has the upper hand.
Sick Harry is asking on the stream, did we get his pass on Mixed Brilliant at lap 14 or 15? I don't remember. I've been covering that many things. I can't tell you what I got on the street, to be honest. Watch it afterwards. Meanwhile, going back further on this, XRL Stuart saying Burns a good shout. Livides 69 also thinks maybe Felipe Nasser might move up because he's the GP2 and reserve driver for Williams, and it'll be a good way for him to get experience. While Spinilla defends Bruno, saying he's a consistent driver, and while he finished at the back of the points, he still finished in the points.
Yeah, he was consistent because he was consistently bad. that's just my opinion. Whether you take
I'd say, Spinillat's spoken many times of this. In 2012, Pastor Maldonado got a race victory at Spain and still barely finished ahead of Bruno Senna, whose best finish was maybe a 7th or a 6th.
I think Bruno Senna's best finish was a 5th.
Even so, it's nowhere near 25 points of a victory. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
XRL Stewart's throwing one out here saying he'll be the first to say it, and he's going for Susie Wolf. Well, publicity stunt, trying to appeal to Americans, equal opportunities, definitely a possibility.
Well, why not get a female driver in within the mix? But I don't. Well, in a couple of years, yeah, maybe we might do.
Meanwhile, overhead, RC Rapids, I think, has done enough to break away from Miss Brilliant here. She's actually fallen out of DRS zone. RC Rapids has done exactly what he needed to do. He's gone ahead, got out of DRS, and this is his chance now to possibly put the hammer down and get the gap he needs. Meanwhile, C. Palmer 111 has done great. He's in P4. He's done that very quietly, got himself up there. Irish Blue going to be well in P5, and the Scarsin recovering in P6.
Yeah, we've noticed that those that stayed out and didn't pit on the safety car, we're finding them towards the back end of the field.
That's kind of where you would have expected it to be, because they've not gone in, they've not changed the tyres, and they're not getting the advantage, as John Digweed tries to catch up to XRL Michaels, who's out in 7th place, and he's lost his clean air, so he's definitely not there. Spinning on 56 thinks maybe Bruno's Barrichello, because he'd like it to happen, but he probably won't. I think he'll be seen as too old, personally. But then again, that doesn't stop Michael Schumacher, so who knows?
I don't think we'll see Rubens Barrichello back in there. But you never know, we could
Piper goes past John Digweed, who made a mistake at the final corner, and that lets him through into 8th place.
Dragon.
What happened there? XRL Michaels has lost his front wing. Irish Blue Gunner has lost his front wing, and he lost it at turn 2. He's got a whole lap without a wing to do.
Perhaps he's just turned in too early and hit the wall. That's my best bet.
And the Scarsin now with the big pressure from XRL Michaels in the McLaren. There goes the Kurz already, and he's getting right underneath the diffuser. The DRS flap's going to open, and XRL Michaels fancies to run down the outside. The Scarsin knows it's there. They're going to be side by side into the braking zone. The Scarsin trying to defend, but I get the feeling that XRL Michaels just got the legs for now. The Scarsin knows saved the full bar of Kurz here, so he's probably going to try and do a Miss Brilliant and blast back in front. Indeed, there goes the attack at XRL Michaels. He might as well wave goodbye to position 5 because the Scarsin is taking it straight back. Well, Scarsin goes a bit wide at the free pass chicane there. XRL Michaels misses the inside at turn 3 and goes back ahead of the Scarsin. That looked like an illegal overtake to me. On stream, we are spinning on 56 saying maybe Takuma Sato could be a driver for Haas because he's done well in IndyCar. Again, another good shout, had a good experience in F1, did well for BAR Honda, and did even better for Super Aguri in a car which really wasn't up to the task. So he's definitely shown he's got the pace and the nous. And he's also popular in Japan, so it opens Haas to a new market.
But it does. I always remember Takuma Sato for his great overtake on Fernando Alonso at Canada.
Montreal 2007. Remember it like it was yesterday.
I do indeed. I remember exactly what I did. I jumped and I swore at Alonso.
Ryan, meanwhile, has got right into the slipstream of Miss Brilliant. He's going to have DRS here on the back of her as who's that? RC Rapids is just too far ahead, so Rapids is not going to be able to make things. But the DRS flat wide open. Ryan gets into the slipstream. DRS flat wide open. Curse to fly. Is he going to be on the brakes to attack Miss Brilliant? He was too far back. Miss Brilliant's defended And the key question is, has Miss Brilliant saved any curse? Yes, she has 3/4 bar. So there's going to be no chance for Ryan surely to attack here. Intelligent drive from Miss Brilliant, showing she's got the nous to be in this division and potentially further up the field. On the stream as well, Juicing saying, Comstyle makes this fun to watch. Well, thank you very much for your comments. Absolutely beautiful. Meanwhile, Smitty156 saying that he thinks Guido van der Gaard is the guy for Sauber next season. Heard a few rumours about that, actually. I know he got a lot of money and he did a decent job from Caterham. And to be honest, the Sauber's not a big step up from the Caterham, so he's not going to be out of his depth. And if they're going to get rid of anyone, as much as you might say it's not undeserved, it's probably going to be Adrian Sudhill. As Jordan gets a run on his teammate Escarsin, who goes wide into the end of Sector 2, into Sector 3, they're going to be side by side for a double sweeping hander. Jordan on the outside, what an overtake, beautiful driving there, sticks it to the outside, stays committed, and forces Escarsin to get out of it. Great driving.
I think Rapids has just gone into the box actually, so indeed.
Let's find out here, because we've got XRL Michaels in 5th place in the McLaren in P4, and this indeed Rapids has gone for another set of the option tyres. I get the feeling he's going to need to push them for around about 10 laps and then try and get the primes to the end, or he might decide to just go all out attack and use the options. Hard to know really, but Ryan is now right behind Miss Brilliant as they come off the hairpin into the first DRS zone. But Ryan is still not learning from his mistakes. He's burning too much of his curves up here, and while he's getting past, Miss Brilliant's just able to take the position back from him.
He's just not learning from his mistakes. He's clearly just wanting to get ahead and try and defend, but he's up to the task. As a
do you remember 2010 at Barcelona, when Jenson Button was behind Michael Schumacher for absolutely ages, finished behind him, and all he did was the same attempt to overtake? He never did anything new. Ryan is guilty of exactly the same thing here today.
Yep, and you'll probably find that he won't do anything new unless she makes a mistake, which so far she hasn't.
In the meantime, a few more comments on the stream. XR Stuart says he could be changed, but Sudhill should stay on. And he's asking, would you rather reserve for one more season to get a Sauber or an F1 driver in a new team straight away? The answer is F1 team straight away. If someone gives you a chance, you've got to take it. Just look at all the comments given to Max Verstappen. And look at Jenson Button when he apparently told Frank Williams he wasn't ready. His dad said, get back on the phone and tell him you are. His dad saying, don't waste this opportunity, and he was absolutely right to do that.
Yep. Unfortunately, his dad isn't with him anymore, but he'll thank him for everything that he did.
Definitely, and that's why he wears that pink helmet in honour of the guy. As Miss Brilliant actually goes wide at turn 1, goes off the circuit, gets a little loss in traction, so Ryan is now going to be closer than he's been throughout the race for some time. He's got to make this count as he gets into the first chicane. He's going to fancy a move here. You wouldn't expect it due to DRS, but he might be able to try and change it round, so she has to be the one chasing rather than leading. Miss Brilliant takes a wide line, lock up into the hairpin corner. Ryan gets on the inside, got plenty of curves available. But once again, he gets straight on the blower and uses it again.
Well, let him
Curves
do what he
deployed,
wants,
DRS open, and he's going to get past Miss Brilliant. He's got a little bit left, but right above Miss Brilliant, she's got a full bar, and she's going to try and go around the outside, and the result forces the mistake for Ryan to go deep, and therefore Miss Brilliant takes the straighter line, and well, she's not even going to be waiting for DRS side by side. There goes the flat. Thank you very much. See you next lap.
Well, there's a good battle going for P4 here, Swish. We've got the Pied Piper just, I think he had overtook or just maintained from XRL Michaels, and Jordan's not far back.
Rapids is in a great position here because he's in clean air, well out ahead of these guys and not too far away from the lead, only about 10 seconds off. XRL Michaels attacking Pied Piper, who goes a little wide into the free-part chicane. XRL Michaels goes all 4 tyres off, loses loads of traction, and that's going to open the door for Jordan in the Mercedes to attack him into turn 10. But Jordan gets poor traction off that corner, and he's not able to get close enough. Meanwhile, on the street, Smitty156 thinks that Kobayashi may be a possible contender for the Lotus drive next season. Lotus would be hard pushed to find a better driver, in my opinion. He's very consistent, and he's shown he can do it. As Ryan and Miss Brilliant are both boxed together, they're both in the pits, so RC Rapids is going to gain a huge advantage here.
Could Miss Brilliant be held up?
She is. Ryan's come out ahead of her.
So Ryan's used his head. That's the only way he was going to get ahead. But the problem is, these two, they're going to come out in traffic behind the guys on the prime tyres.
On the stream, meanwhile, Crude Dead 69 saying that Kobayashi is a born racer and needs to be in F1. And also Spinning pointing out that he's got the fan support money as well. And XRL Stuart, meanwhile, talking about the race we're watching here, saying fantastic strategy from Miss Brilliant. Maybe it was, but it might have just come unravelled thanks to that genius car to go into the pits and Ryan at the same time.
Yeah, I may also have helped Miss Brilliant out with the strategy tonight. I'm like a new manager.
Stop claiming credit. You are not on the race.
I'm like a new manager, as it is. I'm a manager slash driver. Slash commentator.
You're trying to manage something, alright, but I'm not going to talk about it on the stream as it's PG. Jordan, meanwhile, gets into the slipstream of XRL Michaels, who's trying to catch up to Piper in the Williams. DRS block wide open for Jordan in the Mercedes as he gets close to that three-part chicane. But the DRS zone here being negated by XRL Michaels have the same advantage. And that must be an absolute nightmare for a driver. Hitting that flap, getting the extra speed boost, and then seeing the flap open ahead of you.
Certainly is, but Ryan has already caught up on. He's gone into the option tyres, Ryan, and so he's caught up to the back of these guys already. It's just a case of when, if not if.
And also, look at this, Miss Brilliant has fallen away due to being on the primes, and Ryan Weston at the inside. Oh, that's potentially illegal. Look, all four tyres are slightly over to me by the smallest of margins. But look at Roman Grosjean on Felipe Massa in 2013 at the Hungaroring. It was barely millimetres, and he's still got a penalty.
Hey, I said that last week when he did it.
Yeah, a good commentator learns from his peers. Ryan, meanwhile, goes into turn one, goes a little wild, but gets decent traction, manages to avoid it, going into the inside. Oh, this is harsh from Lovin. Get on the stream saying Ryan was stupid to use all his curves in the first DRS zone. Rookie error.
Rookie error. Ouch.
I think someone's going to have a target on their back at some point in a future session by saying that. Ryan gets into the slipstream of XRL Michaels. Jordan's too far behind. Jordan's got ahead of Miss Brilliant.
Jordan was ahead of Miss Brilliant anyway.
Oh, right. I thought there was another car in the way. Ryan, meanwhile, still not learning from his mistakes, using all his curves in sector 1 in the DRS zone. And Ryan gets ahead of XRL Michaels. Michaels on the worn tyres, though, might not be able to fight back, especially since he's not saved his curves. And now Ryan's got a DRS line over Piper. But look at the gap that RC Rapids has.
Huge. I think Rapids, he's going for more option tyres, so he's going to be pitting one
Oh,
more.
Ryan making a sly move on the inside, and Piper sees it going. Oh, they hit tyres, going through turn 10 into 11 and 12. But Piper stays ahead. Ryan's got to try and clear this Williams. He can't afford to tear these options to pieces. He's done a late lunge into turn 11, and that's a great overtake. But Piper's got the inside line of the hotel, and he's hit the tyres. Ryan goes up the circuit. So now XRL Michaels is all over them. Piper makes a mistake, gets out of the way, kind of lets Ryan through there. XRL Michaels been hit by Miss Brilliant into the final corner. XRL Michaels looking to overtake Piper, but he's just not close enough, and now Miss Brilliant's in on the action with these two guys.
Oh, God. Who was it that said that this race needs spicing up? It's everywhere.
Oh, Miss Brilliant taking a position from Michaels. Realised she went over the line and let him back through. Good try from Miss Brilliant there. Realised it was an illegal overtake and gave it back as soon as she could. And that's going to put her down here as Ryan has now got a gap of at least 4 seconds on her. She has to close her out quickly.
The thing is that Ryan is on the option. She's gone for the prime. They could be going the other way around until the final stint, as she's all over the back of XRL Michaels. She's really hustling him, but she's just hanging on for now. But this should be an easy overtake, I think.
It's a question of whether she can pass here and keep the position into the next zone now. XRL Michaels fishtailing a little bit, trying to say which way they're going to go. Miss Williams commits to the inside, gets on the brakes nice and early, forces her way through beautifully. Is she going to be closer to Piper to get the DRS? And she can play some curves off the corner, almost Sebastian Vatelas, to use that as kind of like a traction control. DRS spot wide open, and she gets into the slipstream of Piper, but she's too far behind, and that's making her lose time all the way through to Ryan now. On the screen, Ryan getting a lot of criticism here.
Oh my days! Oh my Swish! You've just missed a great overtake from C Palmer around. You've just missed C Palmer around the outside of Jordan into turn 10. That was fantastic.
Miss Brilliant trying to go around the outside to turn 11 on Pied Piper, but she's all 4 tyres over the white line. Pied Piper tries to go through, she goes 4 tyres on the inside, but still not past him. Pied Piper ruining Miss Brilliant's race here into the penultimate corner. The Walters driver goes, massive corner cut there. Went completely over the circuit. She's been so frustrated by Pied Piper. She wants that Williams to get out of the way, but that Williams has been stubborn as hell. Pied Piper's going, you're not going to pass. Miss Brilliant tries to go around the outside of turn 1, goes off the circuit, all 4 tyres, and Pied Piper gets the better traction into 2, and now Miss Brilliant trying to get a run into 3, but it's not enough. Pied Piper's ruining her race.
Steve Palmer is now he's catch up to these two as well, so she could have a handful with him because he's on brand new prime tyres himself.
Right, see Palmer looking at the inside of the halfway corner. Miss Brilliant now with the big pressure from the Sauer behind. See Palmer doing a fantastic job for Sauer here. Kerr's being deployed, he's saved half his bar. DRS won't be available. There goes the flap on Miss Brilliant's car. And it's also the flap over to see Palmer. Palmer using the Williams to get the slipstream to catch up to Miss Brilliant. Very intelligent, but he's just not close enough to pass Pied Piper. And look, Miss Brilliant gets ahead for now, but both Pied Piper and Palmer are going to have the DRS, and that puts her with a big pressure into the triple chicane. There goes the Curse and Palmer, flat wide open, gets into the slipstream of Pied Piper and the Williams, and Pied Piper's having a go at Miss Brilliant. He's hustling in the back of that Lotus, tries to go to the outside to the chicane. Has he made this stick? No, he's gone off the circuit. Miss Brilliant tries to force her way back through. Oh, as a result of that, she's hit Pied Piper, and he's come back on the track and hit C. Palmer.
Just got away with that. No side pod glitch there. That was very fortunate for both drivers there.
Wow, breathless stuff here in Abu Dhabi, Yas Marina. Maybe people should start watching this rather than the real sport. On the screen, meanwhile, quite a few comments coming in here. First of all, comments about Ryan never getting through at a corner near the hotel. And meanwhile, Smithy was saying that he was going into Maldonado mode. Ouch!
that would have been scary.
Indeed it would, as Escarce gets a decent run, but ahead of them now, Flame Dragon in the Red Bull, popping wheelies like a Mexican lowrider at the moment, not driving an F1 car.
Oh, perhaps he's been watching quite a lot of Pimp My Ride recently.
Or playing a lot of GTS San Andreas. Going through turn 1, XRL Michaels getting a decent run. As Flame Dragon has been passed by him, I think that's due to lag because his car was up in the air. XRL Michaels now attacking Flame Dragon in the Red Bull, trying to go around the outside of the chicane at the end of sector 1. And XRL Michaels makes it work. What a pass! Meanwhile, Juice is saying that this is better than the real sport, but it's due to the commentary. Well, if you want to check it out, we are thinking of possibly doing another live commentary for real at the Monza Grand Prix. It's not yet confirmed, and the more feedback we get on that, the better.
Well, I'm all for that, and I'm all free as well if we need to do it.
Flame Dragon getting a poor run on the back of XRL Michaels at the end of the DRS zone, really attacking the back now of the system of Mercedes, being piloted by Escarcin. Jordan's really fallen out of the case here. DRS flat wide open for XRL Michaels as we head down GP2 paddock into the triple chicane. Oh, XRL Michaels getting a big look up there onto the marbles, losing a lot of grip, and that opens the door for Flame Dragon. Flame Dragon's just too far behind to take advantage. Meanwhile, Livinet's response to the move by XRL Michaels on the outside of turn 4 was simply, what a move! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. As Escarce gets a poor run at turn 12, and that allows Michaels to get under the bridge into the but then he goes all 4 tyres over the inside line after the tunnel. Definitely not what you want as we are in almost total darkness, and it looked like he got a corner cut there before the penultimate corner, passing Escarce at the final turn, and then he's pushing tyres with a Mercedes. Escarce not giving this up. Escarce is making this as hard as possible, and he fancies to move into turn 1 but backs off it when he realises he's too far behind.
Well, I was potentially going to talk about Escarce maybe winning the title tonight, but that doesn't seem to be happening, and if anything, he's going to be caught up quite a bit by Ryan in particular, as it stands.
Moving further forward as Miss Brilliant's lost out, she's in P3 at the moment, and Ryan now in P2, but he's some time behind RC Rapids, who's come from nowhere. I did say earlier on in the commentary that he proved really good performances with regards to his overall grip in the race, and definitely. Meanwhile, Smitty was saying he could only do Thursday and Friday. I guess he's on about the Monza weekend as far as that, I assume. Going further back through the field next to not really got many fights at the front. Pied Piper in 5th place now, running in clean air. And XRL Michaels in 6th place has got Scarson behind him, less than a second. DRS well on from the Mercedes driver as he tries to get close to the back of XRL Michaels and the McLaren into the triple chicane. But XRL Michaels too far ahead, and as a result, Scarson stays down in P7. Jordan, meanwhile, is behind his teammate in 8th place, having started 2nd. He's really lost out in this race.
Not a good race at the moment for the Mercedes drivers, but there's still 18 laps, 17 laps to go, so anything can still happen. A safety car could be, another safety car could be brought out yet.
Don't curse the race. Flame Dragon Mule gets a bit of a corner cut on turn 11, and that opens the door to close up to the back of Jordan, whether it's fair or not, it's a matter of opinion. And Jordan's still pulling away though, ahead of him meanwhile, Ascarson trying to catch up to the back of XRL Michaels is doing a great job for McLaren, doing an awesome position, keeping the car in the lines and getting good pace there, as the field is now spread out. So we're at that point where we might see the action die down a bit, and we can take a bit of a breather.
Well, it's taken 2/3 of the race to there be not a little bit of action going on. So, again, this just shows that this division, just gives us something every single week.
It also shows what happens when you balance the leagues properly and actually get people testing, find out their average times and put them all together. And it shows just how things come forward. It's absolutely brilliant. Meanwhile, XRL Stewart, no, he's not my agent. I don't have an agent. I'm freelance.
Who's your agent?
Jusha.
Oh, right.
Irish Blue going to come out of the pits in 11th place for McLaren. He's not at the best of races here. And RC Rapid's still going, and he's actually quite on the pace similar to Ryan, only half a second slower on his fastest lap, but he's still quite clear ahead of him because the gap now is around about 8 seconds. RC Rapids is really in with a shout of victory here.
He is with a shout. The only difference I can say is, well, Ryan is on the fresher rubber at the moment. Rapids will box, and he will go, I would presume, onto primes for his last stint, where Ryan could squeeze another set of option tyres out, and I would probably suggest that Miss Brilliant will as well. So anything can still happen, but he's got that gap that he needs at the moment, and he just needs to maintain it.
Question on the stream, Smitty was saying F1 pop quiz, but then Stuart gets involved and says, yes, but make it modern, I'm only young. What are you trying to say about me, boy? What are you trying to say there?
Trying to say that you're an old fart and that he has no chance.
And he would be correct in that assumption. Going into turn 1, Jordan getting close to the back of his teammate Scarson, but not close enough to attack.
You're not an old fart, Swish. He's technically still classed. If you're under the age of 35, you're classed as young still.
Trust me, mate, under the age of 95, I'm still young. On the stream, meanwhile, XRL Patrona's asking, how far is RC Rapids, as he has a 10-second penalty from qualifying? Well,
actually, to be fair, I did forget to bring up, Rapids has a 20-second penalty added onto his race from last week.
What about Ryan? Because I know he got caught in quite a few moves, didn't he? So he's definitely one who might have a few penalties hanging over too.
No, all the penalties everyone was given from India were added onto the race time, except for Rapids because he lost connection and he actually rage quit, as we found out. So he was given a 20-second penalty from his track extending and for his qualifying results, where he made quite a few corner cuts. As Jordan is now right all over the back of his team. I wonder if we're going to be having team orders again here. They seem to have calmed down after the
Well, don't forget as well, they are on different tyres here. It's not really in Scarson's interest to keep his teammate behind him when he's on the slower tyres. But I don't get the feeling there's no love lost between these two drivers. Art imitating life here between 6th and 7th place of Scarson. Oh, making it very difficult for Jordan. Thinking it would be easy, think again. But Jordan gets a better run at the end of the sector 3. He's going to try and go around the outside to the penultimate corner. My God, what a pass! What a beautiful move that was!
I don't think Ascassi's going to be very happy about that one bit.
Well, there was no contact. What can he possibly be not happy about? Apart from the fact that he lost out.
There was a very small nudge from where, because I'm on board with Ascassi in the moment, doing my checks, and there was a little bit of contact, but I didn't see anything wrong with it. So perhaps he might be steaming underneath the head, but Jordan will be happy and livid.
On the stream here, our Spinning 56 has finally seen your question, saying Nathan Minardi drives in 2005. Really? Patrick Frieschacker and Christian Albers. Make it harder.
Yeah. Weirdly,
As John Digweed trying to catch up in 9th place to the 8th place Pied Piper, who's on another set of the prime tyre, but it's just not close enough. And the Scarson now has essentially caught up to his teammate Jordan and used all his cars at the DRS zones, and he's going to have a chance here, but he's not using his DRS. The Scarson's not using his DRS, but he's still catching up. Heading towards the triple chicane, the Scarson backs out on the move. Jordan, though, goes up the circuit into the chicane, so a Scarson might fancy a chance of muscling back into front here.
He made a little bit of an error going into the second part of that triple chicane, and that's cost him, and Jordan could just streak away.
Definitely enough. Now, interestingly, Spinny One is actually saying that I'm missing another guy from Minardi in 2005. 2005 at Minardi. I wonder which obscure driver this could be. It's going to be someone who's quite obscure, I imagine.
Was it somebody that replaced one of the other two drivers, or was he brought in for just one race, maybe, or something?
Yeah, a bit of an interesting one, Dax. This is a bit of a strange question. Meanwhile, on the stream, Living Dead saying damn Swish. Damn for what? What are you damning me for? What have I done now?
What haven't you done is the better question.
You never know.
Yes, I don't want to know. I don't know why I even asked.
Well, so saying apparently that Patrick Freeshocker was replaced halfway through the season by another driver. I can only assume that might be one of the Red Bull Academy, maybe, because I know that there was a bit of Red Bull sponsorship around about that time. Patrick Freeshocker was part of that programme. But I can't think of anyone on top of the head it would have been.
Nope, I can't say that I can either.
Interesting. I usually follow the back market team, so I like supporting them. But I'm kind of striking out on this one. I'm trying to think who it might be.
Oh my god, Swish might not know the answer to a question. Guys, get your guns out and shoot yourself.
Don't be stupid, there's plenty of questions I don't know the answer to. I'm not that much of an anorak. I know plenty, but I don't know everything. I'm not egotistical enough to believe that. Now, as the action starts to phase out a little bit here, so we have lost a bit more time. The other thing, I know that I was thinking of Red Bull. I was about to say Rob Dornbos because of the Red Bull for me. He took over Red Bull, not a Minardi.
Tell you what, Swish, you look at the gap between the top two. I think Ryan's halved that gap since we last looked 3 laps ago.
Yeah, so you got Miss Brilliant now in P3. Now, Ryan on board, meanwhile, just going through the chicane. Yeah, you're right. So ahead of him, RC Rapids has only just gone into the hairpin corner. So it's definitely in that right area. Not only DRS on though, so it's going to take at least another 1 or 2 laps here, isn't it?
I'd probably give it 2 more laps, but then again, by that point, we're going to be coming into the pit stop window for those who are on a 4-stop, and we'll be pitting for options to the end of the race, which you'll probably see the majority of people doing. So it's between, I'd say it's between Rapids and Ryan for the win at the moment, but Ryan clearly seems to have the more pace.
At the moment he does, but it's a question of whether he can hold it together. I mean, don't forget, we've seen a lot of drivers making mistakes. We've seen wings going off, we've seen safety cars. Anything's absolutely possible as we're entering into the final 13 laps here at Yas Marina in Abu Dhabi with night totally fallen. The sun has gone and we've got all the lights lit up here at this facility. Now, in real life, we know that when the sun goes down, the track gets cooler and the wear gets easier. Has that been simulated?
No. It's a simple answer is what I'm going to say. No, it hasn't.
On the street, Stu asking how much did Lewis Hamilton win the 2008 Silverstone GP by? Spinny had to say 1 lap. I don't think it was actually a full lap.
No,
it was close to it. It was about 1 minute and 2 seconds or something. Ryan and RC Rapids box at the same time.
What are they going on? Ooh, if they're going on to option tyres, 13 laps on option tyres will not...
Ryan might get held up here because RC Rapids in the Red Bull pit box behind him and he's on the option tyres. RC Rapids goes to the options and so does Ryan. So a big move there. But meanwhile, Miss Brilliant has stayed out. Now, is she going to try and make these primes last to the end?
No, she's going to be doing option stint to the end. She'll be pitting lap 45. I can tell you that now for free.
In regards to the Hamilton question, I think you're possibly close to us. It was about 65 seconds. It was something like that. Something like 62, 65 seconds. He didn't lap second place, but he lapped Rubens Barrichello, who came third for Honda in a mightily impressive drive.
Indeed.
That's for the Minardi question. I'm struggling to think of an answer for it, so I might have to actually admit defeat on that one, because I can't think of anybody else who drove for Minardi that season.
And so am I, because
Oh, it was Robert. I said Robert Dawn, boss.
You were right.
I said that earlier in the race. I said that earlier on. I didn't think he drove for Minardi, though. I didn't think he drove for them.
Turns out he did.
Hello. Must have been very anonymous then, because I don't remember that.
Well, you don't quite get everything to Swish. You can add that to your list.
We were both close. It was actually 1 minute 8 and 5.777 apparently. So 68, 69 seconds would have been the closest answer to give to Stuart's question. Quite a fair one to give, must admit. So moving back through the field, trying to get some more close battles. There is a battle towards the bottom end of the points, actually. Flame Dragon in 8th place has got a Scarsin in the Sister Mercedes in 9th, and then John Digweed in the Ferrari in 10th. So, definitely over that. Yellow flags out in the final sector for some reason.
Yes, the McLaren of... Is that
XRL Michaels?
Michaels has spun and he's lost his wing. He's hit the outside curb of the hotel section and he's lost his wing. Actually, no,
meanwhile, in the box, Jordan's in the stream. I think Jordan has managed to lead. Oh, he's left C. Palmer. I thought he'd left ahead of Miss Brilliant then. I was thinking, how did he do that? But
Jordan's gone to prime tyres as well.
Now, DRS open from Ryan on the back of RC Rapids, trying to catch up to the back of the Rappel driver. And meanwhile, Miss Brilliant in the Lotus on the primes has got RC Rapids all over the back of her. We've got a 3-car scrap for the lead here. But Miss Brilliant, of course, still wearing tyres. And I'm really surprised she's not gone into the box here, because she's going to be losing so much time. RC Rapids, though, is not able to get past her. Goes to the outside of the triple chicane. Has RC Rapids made this stick? Yes, he has. And Ryan on the middle, he tries to follow through in the middle, but he's just not got the grip. However, he's going to try clean past her on the outside. Such is the difference in performance levels, and he's got past her like she wasn't even there into turn 12.
Just bearing in mind, Swish, those two guys are going on options for 13 laps. 13. That is 2 laps too many, because LGS did a 12-lap stint on those options at the end on Sunday night, and his tyres are completely gone.
Miss Brilliant dives into the box, so she's going to have only 10 laps to do. Question for Spinnywan on the screen, meanwhile. He says, who drove for Jordan in 1997?
That was the year before Damon Hill.
One of them was Ralph Schumacher.
One of them was, yes. Was it the one Frenson?
No, that was 99.
99.
So I say one was definitely Ralph Schumacher. I'm trying to think of you, because that was when they still... I think that was Fisichella, actually. I think it was Fisichella and Ralph Schumacher. Because I remember it now, because the black wings were when they had to make all the different logos to replace Benson and Hedges, and they had the snake Bitten and Hisses. And on the black wings, when they couldn't put that, one of them was Fiffy and Huey. Fountain of all knowledge, and the same as Spinny says, well done.
No.
And Stuart's saying that that's too bloody retro. How is 97 too retro? Come on.
Well.
How old are you, 12?
Stuart's actually 17, so he would have been just born that year.
I wasn't much born when Senna was driving, and I still know loads about it. Hell, I was only just born when Gilles Villeneuve was driving, and I still know loads about that.
Yeah. Just get onto the internet, Stuart. Just research. That's all it is.
Meanwhile, now, I don't think Miss Brilliant's going to be able to close this gap. She's a bit too far behind, first and second. Jordan, meanwhile, has now found himself in 5th place after his prime time stint. And you've also got Flame Dragon being chased quickly by C. Palmer. They make contacts as they go underneath the hotel. And C. Palmer gets ahead of Flame Dragon. Well, Flame Dragon tries to move him back through. Now, I'm not sure if Palmer made a legal pass there. Well, Flame Dragon's hitting off the circuit. Palmer retains the position now. So Flame Dragon moving into the inside of C. Palmer, who's now got ahead of him on the option tyres. Question of whether the Sauber can go to the end of the race though, as we enter the final 9 laps here at Yas Marina in Abu Dhabi, in a race that's been full of thrills, spills, collisions and everything else in between. Flame Dragon making a move into turn 4, but he's just got closer to attack. Gets a corner cut turn 5 into the hairpin at 6. C. Palmer's going to be in DRS detection zone and clutches here. Flame Dragon will fancy his chances of getting past the Sauber. DRS flat wide open, he's only used half his curse bar. Flame Dragon attacking C. Palmer. He shows him a dummy, goes to the inside, pulls ahead of C. Palmer and the Sauber. But the Sauber driver's going to have the DRS back, heading towards the next DRS detection point. There goes the line, so C. Palmer will have the high ground towards the triple chicane. But actually, great drive game of Flame Dragon there, up turns 7 and 8, and into turns 9, 10 and 11. Palmer's in a great position. And Palmer makes a mistake though, goes over the inside, and I think actually he's got discussing in the Mercedes now, all over the back of it. Heading through 12 and 13 into 14. Escarcin not able to close the gap on Palmer into turn 15 under the Grand Hotel. And 16 to tight in one, going close to the wall. Palmer gets far too close to the inside. Gets a little bit of a corner cut into 17 and 18, the final 2 corners. Palmer getting a good run on Flame Dragon, but Flame Dragon's managed to retain the lead on this lap. But we've only got 8 laps remaining.
Out in front, RC Rapids is actually increasing his gap by a few tenths over Ryan each lap as it goes by, so Rapids has the high ground for now, but it's all going to be down to consistency. And well, who would you back
in terms of the victory, you mean?
Yes, at this particular point.
Well, RC Rapids and Ryan both boxed on the same lap time, and you can see that Ryan's a little pacier, but as you pointed out, with the strategy showed in F1, means that the actual soft tyres won't last long enough, and he might burn his tyres out a lap too early. And the key question is, will Miss Brilliant close the gap? So far, I don't think she will.
Well, she does have 2 or 3 lap fresher tyres compared to the guys in front of me. The gap is around about what, I'd say maybe about 15, 16, maybe even more than that actually, but
On the stream, meanwhile, XRL Stewart actually found a good question. He's definitely Wikipedia'd this one. When was the last time McLaren had an orange livery including testing? Well, I know they used to use it in between red and white days. That would put it in the mid-90s because they went to West Cigarettes in 1998, hence the silver livery. But I actually get the feeling they may have used it between those periods, sometime around 2001.
I'm going to go with, I think it was 2000. I seem to recall, I think it was 2000. The start of the new
DRS flat wide open from Ryan as he's now in the detection point for Rapids. So Rapids under big pressure here as we enter the final 7 laps of this race. And we've got a final lead between the outsider RC Rapids, who's come from the mid-pack, and Ryan, who was on pole position. Who's going to take victory here in the deserts of Abu Dhabi? At the end of the second DRS zone, Ryan's just not close enough to get to the back of RC Rapids. As we're going to turn 12, Rapids gets a better line there. Ryan actually got a lot of tail slip, nearly spun the car, but managed to just about catch it. Going into 13 and 14. Oh, we got the tight hairpin at 15. You can see Ryan struggling to get the rear end turned in as he started to wear his tyres out a bit too soon.
I'm sure. It could be. I mean, he's still got a long way to go yet, actually, but...
Interesting. XRL Stewart says the last time they used a orange livery was actually testing in 2006. Okay. I really don't recall that.
Nope. Not do it.
Heading into turn 1, Ryan's very, very close to the back of the Red Bull of RC Rapids. And here's a question for you then. When Honda announced their Earth car livery in 2007, what colour was their test car before that?
I'm going to bother to answer that one, I don't know.
Go on, Stuart, show our good news. You're the founder of all knowledge on testing. Answer that one. Kerr's meanwhile available to Ryan as we leave the first DRS zone. RC Rapids extremely close here, and the flap goes open, and he's easily going to blast past that driver, no doubt about it. But you get the feeling that RC Rapids will have the advantage heading into the second zone, as he's still got a third of his Kerr's bar available. Ryan has none.
Ryan's just going to lose out from this once again, as he did from Miss Brilliant, and he's actually pulled up a little gap.
Well, there's the DRS flap from RC Rapids, and now with a difference maker. Into turn 10, it's going to be very, very tight. Has Ryan managed to fend him off here? Yes, he has. Great drive from Ryan in the Ferrari. Heading through 12, and you saw Rapids got a bit of a tail slip there as they hit the curb, and that forced him wide with a big loser in all. This is Miss Brilliant. Look how far behind she is.
The Stuart switch, if these guys keep on squabbling, that gap will reduce.
I'm not sure it's big. There's not enough wax not to make it work. Yeah, that's right, Stuart. What was the Honda livery in 2007 testing? RC Rapids trying to get as close as possible to Ryan, but Ryan's pulled away big time for turns 1, 2 and 3. Look at that gap.
It's actually a battle for ninth going on at the moment, especially if you want to get on board with that. We've got the McLaren teammates actually having a go here. It is indeed the McLaren teammates having a go for 9th place.
Kerr's being deployed by RC Rapids, but he's outside the DRS zone, so he's not got the advantage there. So we'll move back to that battle. John Digweed's also joined it as well, so we've got a 3-way battle for the foot of the points here. We've got John Digweed in 11th, then down in 10th place, XRL Michaels. What a loser he's been in this race. And Irish Blue Gunner hanging on in P9, but he's on the prime tyres, whereas both XRL Michaels and John Digweed are on the option tyres, which gives them a huge advantage.
Indeed, XRL Michaels had actually just pitted. He came out ahead of his teammate, but he Blue Gunner passed him on the DRS, so he's now lost that position, and John Digweed's just been slowly catching up, so the 3-way battle. Actually, Blue Gunner's actually pulling away from XRL Michaels.
Yeah, John Digweed and XRL Michaels have lost out to Blue Gunner there. I don't know if Blue Gunner's deployed all its Kerrs to try and be more than DRS detection zone ahead into the hairpin and avoid being DRS, but if it was, that's a sensational idea, because he's now got his teammate in real trouble, because John Digweed is now over with DRS. And Stuart, you are wrong, it's not red and white. That was not the Honda livery in testing in 2007. John Digweed DRS flat wide open, blast past XRL Michaels, but XRL Michaels tries to hang around the outside, and this is very foolish because he's going to give DRS to John Digweed here, who's saved a bit of his Kerrs, so John Digweed should pass him into the triple chicane. And there he goes, unintelligent driving now from XRL Michaels.
Actually, XRL Michaels is actually missing an end play, and I think his tyres are gone.
Oh, they brushed tyres there with John Digweed as he goes for the second part of the free pass game, and then John Digweed goes off at turn 12, and XRL Michaels goes, okay, if you want to make it that easy for me, fine. So John Digweed now out of the points in 11th place, chasing after XRL Michaels. And he's missed it! Michaels has spun it! And he's going to have lost his wing there! XRL Michaels throws away a points position. He's cracked under the pressure with 4 laps remaining.
If you look at the state of his tyres, actually, they're worn. So he was pushing it, and he didn't get away with it.
Miss Brilliant now is really far behind RC Rapids. She's 20 seconds adrift. There's no way that she's going to catch that by 4 laps. And Ryan, meanwhile, has done enough to break away from RC Rapids. So unless his tyres fall off the cliff, Ryan is going to take victory. But it's been one of the hardest fought victories he'll have ever had.
Definitely, especially after that first half of the race, and considering as well that he lost his wing and the safety car came to his rescue.
Just goes to show you make your own luck, fortune favours the bold, whatever phrase you want to use. Meanwhile, since no one else has got involved, the Honda livery in testing with 2007 was actually black.
Just simple, black.
It was black. Yep, that's right.
Gothic much?
More like the arrows from the year 1999.
Oh, right.
That was one of the jokes at the time. And Stuart, just that put an essay-length question about maybe if they bought another team, they'd have a different livery, but I really don't know. So, well, now you know. It's black.
In one battle that could potentially be going on Swish, and that is the battle, I think, for P4, which is...
No, it's not anymore. Pied Piper's gone off at turn 2. He's gone well off the circuit, and that's lost him a lot of time on Jordan in the Mercedes. But Pied Piper's done a good job to actually get himself right near the put. And the big winner here is C. Palmer. He's still in 6th place, and he's keeping a Scarson behind him. Championship leader down in 7th place. Just goes to show what that first lap can do to you if you get it wrong.
Is it me, or is this Scarson seems to be having a reminiscent season of Jenson Button when he was in the Brawn team in 2009? He had a really good first half of the season, winning races, and since we've come back and when Jenson Button came back off the break, he never won a race since Monaco, and
he only even got one podium after that, which was at Monza.
Exactly. And if you look at it here, Scarson, he's not been on the podium for quite a while, but he's still picking up the points where he needs to.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you race over the line or you fall over the line. As long as you're in first place, you win the title. I mean, of course, wind the clock back to 1984 on that one.
Exactly.
Niki Lauda winning by half a point.
Exactly, half a point.
Question from XRL Stewart says, do I think that McLaren will change to red and white next season? I actually think they're probably going to go back to the orange. And the reason for that is because the Honda engine... Honda have a huge link-up with Sony in Japan. Sony do a lot of the Honda car electronics. So I get the feeling Sony might become their main sponsor next season. And one of their main colours is orange.
How much are you willing to wager?
How much are you willing to wager? A pint.
Just a pint? A pint of what, though? It could be absolutely anything.
When I say a pint, it only means one thing. When you're from the northern steppes of England, if someone says a pint, you know exactly what it means.
Well, I'm actually more northern than you are, Swish, so I can say even more.
Well, there you go. It was a stupid question to ask them. As Scarson gets closer to C. Palmer, trying to get close to that Sauber and take the position for the final 2 laps here. Very close to it.
It's been a very exhilarating race from pretty much start to around about, 2/3 of this race. Thankfully, it calmed down a little bit. We could get our breath back.
Well, Scarce's actually closed the gap here, and he might be in DRS detection for the second zone. He wasn't in it for that point for the first, but he's closed the gap here, and I think he's going to get DRS here at Scarce. So Scarce is going to be giving Palmer, in fact, there goes the flap and the curse. I don't think it's close enough to pass, but that means Palmer's going to have to do 2 laps of very aggressive defending if he wants that 6th place. Heading left into turn 12, and you can see that Scarce is definitely closing the gap on Palmer. Has Palmer wore out those option tyres? And if he has, does that mean that Scarce is going to claw back some points on the leaders, as Ryan looks like he's going to make a big gain on him this race, having looked like he's going to take victory unless a mistake happens. And he made one earlier in the race, let's not forget. It's not too late to make an error. Gap closed a little bit to Palmer. Palmer's actually got a little bit of legs through turn 1 as Scarson gets a huge drift there, really struggling. So I get the feeling that Scarson is going to run out of grip here because he's going very wide now, hitting the curves a lot and starting to get close to spinning the car.
At the same time, though, these guys are catching up to P5 of Pied Piper. Pied Piper's really struggling.
Oh, very wide from Palmer there, so Scarce is going to be eyeing him up like a spring chicken as he heads towards the chicane at the end of DRS sector 1, turns 7 and 8. But he's not got DRS, he wasn't close enough, but yet he's still closing up enough to get the move done unbelievably.
Another battle that's going to take place is for P8, actually. as Flame Dragon, I believe it is, coming under pressure from Irish Blue Gunner.
On the stream regarding the McLaren livery, Stuart believes red and white because Honda's colours are red and white. As he pulls out the slipstream of Scarson, they brush tyres with Palmer, and that allows Palmer to get a very wide entry into the chicane, but he misses the second corner, and Scarson has to take evasive. So Palmer retains the position by crook there.
Moving back to Flame Dragon and Irish Blue Gunner. Blue Gunner has the DRS on the back of the Red Bull driver. Very late on the brake cleans. Oh, he's hit Flame Dragon there, and wisely gives him the position back.
Meantime, on the stream, Living Dead thinks that if Sony is the main sponsor for McLaren next season, they'll actually stay grey. I'm not entirely sure though. They do have a penchant for grey, but a lot of their liveries are actually orange in other sports, from what I know. So I get the feeling they probably do that. But again, until McLaren announce what's going on, it's not against their first season without a major sponsor. So that's one of the key things they're going to have to announce at some point for next season. Heading into the final lap here, and you can see that Scarce is trying to close into Palmer and make that move to rescue some points in this title charge as we're heading towards Austin, Texas for the next round of the F4, and that'll be next week. Tomorrow night, don't forget, you've got F5000 and T6 doubleheader as Scarce pops the DRS. Oh, he's hit and destroyed his vehicle! He hit the back, and what happened there? And Scarce is going to get no points! He hit the back of Palmer and spun into the wall on the DRS straight! That's unbelievable!
Well, Ryan, on top of that, Ryan's just come out the final corner and he wins at Abu Dhabi.
What happened to Ascarson there? Has that settled the title?
I think he will still get point switch because he's done more.
No, he won't. He's in 11th place. XRL Michaels is 11th.
Indeed. So he won't score.
What the hell just happened to Ascarson there? It's like he tried to make a move, and then maybe he had his DRS open, and that pitched the car into a spin. Whatever was the reason, he went to the inside when it was covered. He had all the room in the world on the outside, but he didn't make the move, and as a result, lost out huge, went into the wall, destroyed his car.
All of that race, 54 laps completed, half a lap to go, and that happens.
Well, we're going to get the podium members into the party so we can obviously get their comments on the race here and hopefully get more information on how the inside track on a race that was an absolute thriller here in the desert of Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. You really have to give hats off to the drivers here. Just waiting for first and third place to join the podium. For those of you who didn't actually catch that, I'll say it again. Ascarson in the slipstream of C Palmer 11 for some reason went to the inside when it was covered, made a banzai move to the right, lost it, spun the car and into the wall. I've never seen anyone crash there before. Ascarson claims first blood.